Doraemon's daily check-in system. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 151, Changing Clothes. Do you know how to use this dress? Nobi Daichi asked this question for some reason. I know. I heard everything you said to the blue raccoon cat just now. Lilulu showed a curious look. Blue raccoon cat? Is there such a creature in the mechanical utopia? Or did Lilulu know about it after coming to Earth? Nobi Daichi thought to himself. At the same time, he felt a little relieved in his heart. Fortunately, he and Doraemon didn't talk about any secret things just now. After all, he didn't know what Lilulu's amnesia was. Nobi Daichi thought a lot in his heart, but he said calmly on his face, "That's good, I don't need to explain it again." Nobi Daichi smiled. "How are you now?" Looking at Lilulu lying on the tatami, Nobi Daichi couldn't help asking, "How is it?" Lilulu felt the condition of all aspects of her body before saying, "Much better, I should be able to walk." Lilulu lifted the quilt and sat up, and then stood up again. Seeing Lilulu like this, Nobi Daichi's eyelids jumped. Lilulu walked a few steps, but was still not satisfied, so she jumped a few more times. Just looking at Lilulu's clothes, it was really awkward and, after all, the clothes Lilulu was wearing were still Nobi Daichi's clothes. Ahem. Nobi Daichi coughed twice to signal Lilulu to stop, but Lilulu did stop the experiment after hearing Nobi Daichi's cough. But then Lilulu walked to Nobi Daichi's side and asked with her head down, "Daichi, what's wrong with you? Are you catching a cold?" Looking at Lilulu's concerned eyes, Nobi Daichi couldn't help coughing twice again. Nobi Daichi said that he really didn't cough on purpose this time, but was choked by what Lilulu said. At the same time, Nobi Daichi also had a little doubt in his heart. How did Lilulu know the word cold? After all, robots don't catch colds. That should be something Lilulu knew after coming to Earth. Nobi Daichi thought secretly, but this was just his guess. As for what the real situation was, he was not sure. But it didn't matter whether you knew these things or not. I'm fine. Nobi Daichi smiled awkwardly. Oh. Then Nobi Daichi took the magic clothes from the tatami to Lilulu. "Take it, through what I and the blue raccoon just said. Ahem. Through what I and Doraemon said just now, you should know how to use this clothes." The blue raccoon cat was called Doraemon. Hearing this, Nobi Daichi tried hard to hold back his choking. Then Lilulu took the magic clothes from Nobi Daichi's hands. "I'll take you to the bathroom. You change yourself." Nobi Daichi said, opened the door and walked out. Lilulu also followed behind Nobi Daichi. Nobita had already woken up from the world of comics when Lilulu stood up from the tatami. Looking at Lilulu wearing strange clothes, Nobita was in a trance. Nobita didn't react until Lilulu followed Nobita downstairs. Why did Lilulu's clothes look so much like Nobita's? They came to the bathroom on the first floor. Nobita let Lilulu go in to change clothes, and he stood guard at the bathroom door. He wanted to make it clear that he was guarding the bathroom door just to prevent others from entering the bathroom, and he had absolutely no other intentions. And even if he had other intentions, the bathroom door was not transparent. When going downstairs, Nobita took a look at the living room and other places, but didn't see Doraemon. It seems that Doraemon should have gone out. As for why Nobita would guard the bathroom door, although he said to prevent others from entering the bathroom, but this is not the main reason. After all, let's not talk about the bathroom door being locked. Let's say that there are only him and Nobita in the house now. Nobita's main purpose for guarding the bathroom door is to prevent Lilulu from having any changes. Click. Just as Nobita was thinking about these things, Lilulu opened the bathroom door and walked out of the bathroom. Looking at Lilulu, who has changed into new and suitable clothes, Nobi Daichi breathed a sigh of relief. It seems that his guess was right. The magic clothes can indeed extend the lower body clothes. The clothes Lilulu is wearing now are similar to the dirty clothes that Nobi Daichi threw away before. I don't know if Lilulu likes this style of clothes, or she has only seen clothes like this, but the latter is unlikely. After all, Lululu has been in this place for so long, and when she was looking for the Christmas warrior, it is impossible that she didn't see anyone. And the people Lululu has seen, maybe a very small part of their clothes are the same, but most of them are definitely different. It looks good. Nobi Daichi praised. If there were outsiders here, seeing Nobi Daichi, such a child, praising a girl who is more than a head taller than Nobi Daichi, it would definitely feel weird. If this girl is not Lululu, I'm afraid this girl will also feel very weird. But who made these two people? One is Nobi Daichi and the other person is Lululu. It looks weird to others. Nobi Daichi and Lululu both thought it was normal, and neither of them felt awkward. Really? Lululu seemed very happy after hearing Nobi Daichi's praise. She crossed her hands behind her back, half bent her waist, and looked at Nobi Daichi with her eyes curved into a crescent shape, smiling. Yes, yes. Seeing Lululu like this, Nobi Daichi was a little uncomfortable. After all, Lululu's personality now is too different from before. Let's go upstairs first. Nobi Daichi said to Lululu and hurried upstairs. He really couldn't stand Lululu like this. After seeing Nobi Daichi going upstairs, Lululu also jumped and followed Nobi Daichi up the stairs to the second floor room. Daichi. After seeing Nobi Daichi coming up, Nobita stood up from the chair next to the desk and wanted to walk towards Nobi Daichi. But when Nobita saw Lululu behind Nobi Daichi, he instinctively took 2 steps back. Although Nobita knew that Lululu should not be dangerous for the time being. Otherwise, Daichi would not let Lululu follow him without any worries. But despite this, he still couldn't suppress his fear instinct. After all, Lululu's fighting ability was not weak. Chapter 152 Entering the Mortal Realm. Dazzy, who is this? Lululu glanced at Nobita, lowered her head, and asked Nobi Daichi. It's my brother, Nobita. Nobita, nice to meet you. Nobita looked at Lululu who ran from Nobita Daichi to him and said hello, and was confused. Who am I? Where am I? What's going on? Although Nobita was confused, he still said instinctively, I'm glad to meet you too, Lululu. After greeting Nobita, Lululu returned to Nobita Daichi. Brother, do you have anything to do with me? Nobita Daichi looked at Nobita and asked. Something? Nobita was stunned for a moment, but he reacted immediately and said. Dazzy, do you know where Doraemon went? I don't know. I didn't see Doraemon when I went downstairs just now. Nobita Daichi shook his head to indicate that he didn't know either. Is that so? Nobita was a little disappointed. Do you have anything to do with Doraemon? Nobita Daichi asked curiously. What could Nobita have to do with Doraemon? It's nothing. Nobita thought for a moment and said. Nobita. After carefully looking at Lululu behind Nobita, Nobita walked to Nobita and whispered to him. Dazzy, come with me. Don't let Lululu follow you. Nobita looked at Nobita strangely, not knowing what he was going to do, but nodded. Then Nobita planned to follow Nobita downstairs. Seeing that Lululu next to him also wanted to follow him downstairs, Nobita said hurriedly. Lululu, stay here for a while. I have something to say to my brother. Although Lululu is dangerous, Lululu shouldn't be in danger now. After all, after so long, if Lululu really has any abnormal conditions, she should show some signs, right? But in fact, Lululu has not shown any clues so far. If these are really Lululu's disguise, or if Lululu has changed in such a short time. Nobi Daichi also accepted it with a pinch of his nose. It was unknown how long Lululu would stay here. He couldn't watch Lululu all the time, right? You know, he didn't know how to deal with Lululu yet. After hearing what Nobi Daichi said, Lululu just looked at Nobi Daichi with a smile, without objection or agreement. Nobi Daichi looked at Lululu's appearance, and didn't care so much, as long as Lululu didn't follow him. Then Nobi Daichi followed Nobita directly. After arriving at the living room on the first floor, Nobita and Nobi Daichi did not sit opposite each other, but sat side by side. At the same time, Nobita turned on the TV. Looking at the cautious Nobita, Nobita Daichi couldn't help but hold his forehead. Looking at Nobita's appearance, he knew without thinking that what Nobita wanted to say was about Lululu. Otherwise, why would Nobita be so careful? Dazzy, is there really no problem with Lululu? Nobita said after looking around and seeing that there was no special situation behind him. As expected, Nobi Daichi thought to himself. I don't know, but judging from the current situation, Lulu is not in any danger for the time being. When he said this to Nobita, Nobita Daichi also became serious. Daichi, for the time being. Doesn't that mean Lulu is still in danger? Yes. Nobita Daichi did not deny it, and admitted it openly. Then, when Nobita wanted to say something, and turned around to check the situation around him, he found that Lulu had stood behind him, and Nobita Daichi without him noticing. Nobita said dryly after spitting. Lulu, you are here. Yes. Lulu responded and sat next to Nobita Daichi. Looking at Lulu sitting next to him, Nobita Daichi did not care. As soon as Lulu stood behind him and Nobita, he knew it. After all, his current strength has already entered the mortal realm. The initial stage of the mortal realm. This is Nobita Daichi's current strength. To say how he entered the mortal realm, Nobita Daichi also felt incredible and a little regretful. If possible, he would rather not enter the mortal realm. After all, this represents a huge price, and this huge price is the Emperor Armor. Ding, the heavenly Deo origin power of the Emperor Armor world has been absorbed by the system for the most part. Even if the Emperor Armor did not burst out the origin power to save the host this time. When the host's strength is improved again, the strength of the Emperor Armor will not be enhanced anymore, and it will only remain at the 6th level. After all, the origin power of the Emperor Armor can only increase the host's strength to the 6th level. At the beginning, the 5th level was, because the host's physical strength was not enough. The 5th level was all the strength that the host could bear at the beginning. As for the zombie world, it was also the Emperor Armor that forcibly burst out the origin power. The origin power that burst out that time was much more than this time. The above is the original words of the system. At a certain moment before, so much information suddenly emerged in Nobita Daichi's mind. In the mirror world, in the process of fighting with the mutant Santa warrior, the Emperor Armor forcibly burst out the origin power to protect Nobita Daichi. When Nobi Daichi entered the mortal realm, he also felt incredible. After all, his breakthrough was too silent, but this is also a benefit. If he can break through silently every time in the future, he can avoid a lot of trouble. As for the reason for his breakthrough, it was with the help of a trace of the remaining original power of the Emperor Armor. In the future, Nobi Daichi can also transform into the Emperor Warrior. But after transforming into the Emperor Warrior, he will no longer have that powerful power increase, because he has lost the original power. The Emperor Armor only represents a kind of decoration for him. Of course, it is not just decoration. Because the strength of the Emperor Armor will be equal to that of Nobi Daichi in the future, it can be understood as his physical strength. Of course, it is not completely the same. As for the weapons of the Emperor Armor, the Aurora Shield and the Aurora Sword may reappear in the future with the upgrade of the Emperor Armor. At that time, the Aurora Shield and the Aurora Sword will no longer be derived from the original power. Whether the Emperor Horse will reappear, according to the system, it is almost impossible. And the upper limit of the improvement of the Emperor Armor, in theory, has no upper limit. But there is still good news. That is, since the Emperor Armor has lost its original power, it has completely gotten rid of the constraints of the original world's laws. Therefore, although Nobi Daichi felt very sorry, but he could only reluctantly accept it. After all, it has become a reality. The early stage of the mortal realm. Emperor Armor. Nobi Daichi sighed unconsciously. Daichi, what's wrong with you? Lulu looked at the sighing Nobi Daichi and asked with concern. It's okay, I just feel emotional, haha. Nobi Daichi laughed. What are you feeling emotional about? Nobi Daichi, there is no way to continue chatting today. Why do you have to ask so many questions? Seeing that Nobi Daichi did not answer, Lulu did not care, but changed the subject. What were you talking about just now? Chapter 153 News of the Invasion. We are talking about whether you will hurt us. Nobi Daichi ignored Nobita's eye signal and said directly. Compared with Lulu's recovery of memory in the future, Nobi Daichi thought it might be better to tell Lulu the truth in advance. Hurt you? Why do you think so? Lulu's dark blue eyes were full of confusion. Because you have lost your memory and your memory is disordered. Amnesia? Disordered memory? Lulu was even more confused. But when she thought that there were indeed many things missing in her mind, she believed it a little. You were indeed sent to Earth by the captain of the robot of the Mechanical Ideal Kingdom. But your mission is not to help the humans on Earth, but to assist the Iron Man Corps of the Mechanical Ideal Kingdom to conquer the Earth. Nobi Daichi said to Lululu, while carefully observing the changes in Lululu's facial expressions. But what disappointed Nobi Daichi was that when Lululu heard what he said, her face was full of confusion. Lululu was indeed very confused. After all, what Nobi Daichi said was very different from the memory in her mind now. It seems that we can only wait for things to develop further, Nobi Daichi thought. Thinking of this, Nobi Daichi stood up from the floor, and Lululu also stood up. When Nobita saw Nobi Daichi and Lululu standing up, he also stood up. However, Nobita froze the moment he stood up, because he was sitting upright. Sitting upright is a very formal way of sitting in Japan, and Nobita didn't want to sit like this. But just now, Nobita felt a little guilty and anxious, so he unconsciously adopted the sitting upright posture. If you sit for a long time, your legs and feet will become numb. Looking at Nobita like this, Nobita Daichi was a little helpless. Nobita Daichi just sat very casually. But even if he was sitting upright, with his current physical fitness, he would not have numb legs or feet. Daichi, what's wrong with Nobita? Looking at Nobita who was stiff and motionless, Lululu asked curiously. It's the after effect of sitting upright for too long. My legs and feet are numb. It's okay. It will be fine in a while. Nobi Daichi didn't care and explained casually. Then he pushed open the door of the living room and came to the corridor and then went back to the room on the second floor along the stairs. Lululu naturally followed Nobi Daichi back to the room on the second floor. Nobita didn't recover until Nobita and Lululu walked for a while. He looked at the TV in the living room. After thinking about it, it seemed that watching TV was not bad after reading comics for so long. With this in mind, Nobita didn't sit upright anymore, but sat in front of the TV casually. He would never say that he didn't dare to go up because he was afraid of Lululu. Looking at Lululu following behind him, Nobita Daichi always felt that something was wrong. Suddenly, Nobita Daichi stopped, and Lululu following behind him also stopped. Nobita Daichi finally found out what was wrong. That is, Lululu was too kind to him. This can't be said to be bad, but it can't be said to be good either. This incident made Nobita Daichi think of something that made him scared and incredible. Lululu won't fall in love with him, right? Although Lululu does look cute, has a sweet laugh, and is definitely a beautiful girl in the eyes of Earthlings. But to be honest, Nobi Daichi didn't have that intention from the beginning. After all, let's not talk about Lululu's special identity, just the identity of Lululu as a robot. Nobi Daichi wouldn't think too much. Dazzy, what's wrong with you? It's okay, it's okay. Pushing the door open, he entered the room. Nobi Daichi came to the desk, pulled out the chair, and sat on it. Lululu followed Nobi Daichi to the desk, and looked at him. Well, Lululu, don't you have anything you want to do? Looking at Lululu who has been following him, Nobi Daichi said helplessly. A beautiful girl is always following behind. It is impossible for a person to pretend that nothing happened. Things you want to do. After hearing Nobi Daichi's question, Lululu looked at Nobi Daichi who was expecting, and thought about it. It seems not. Nobi Daichi. Then can you stop following me? You find a place to sit down first. Right. Nobi Daichi seemed to think that he had come up with a good idea and stood up from the chair happily. He came to the bookshelf. Nobi Daichi took out a popular comic book from the bookshelf. He walked to Lululu and handed the comic book to Lululu. Take a look at this. You know Japanese, so you should be able to understand this comic. Lululu took the comic book from Nobi Daichi's hand with a curious look. Nobi Daichi smiled when he saw Lululu took the comic book. The comic book he picked was naturally not picked casually. The comics for Lululu all promoted the virtues and excellent culture of mankind. If possible, he really hoped that Lululu would fundamentally change her view of humans by reading comics. In that case, even if Lululu recovered her memory, she would not deal with humans anymore. Lululu curiously opened the comic book handed over by Nobi Daichi. After a quick glance, he thought it seemed quite interesting, so he found a place to sit down and started reading. Seeing Lululu like this, Nobi Daichi breathed a sigh of relief for some reason, and then sat back down next to the desk. Lilulu actually didn't want to follow Nobi Daichi all the time, but she didn't know what she could do if she didn't follow Nobi Daichi. After all, there were too few memories in Lilulu's mind, only Nobi Daichi and the captain of the mechanical ideal country robot. Among them, Nobi Daichi still occupied the majority of Lilulu's memories. As for the captain of the mechanical ideal country robot, there was only one sentence left in Lilulu's memory, and that sentence was, "Lilulu, remember, your mission is to go to Earth to help the humans on Earth. Don't come back if you can't complete this mission." In addition, there were only a few other sporadic memories in Lilulu's memory. Nobi Daichi returned to the desk and thought about what to do next. No. System, didn't you say that I can't practice in this world? Then how can I enter the mortal realm? Ding, host, are you practicing on your own? No. Then the system didn't say anything else. After hearing what the system said, Nobi Daichi also understood something strange. Hearing Lilulu suddenly ask a question behind him, Nobi Daichi turned his head and asked, "Lilulu, what's wrong with you? I received a message from the captain of the robot of the mechanical utopia. It said that the Iron Man core of the mechanical utopia can't wait for me to build a base on Earth. They plan to invade the Earth tomorrow." Chapter 154 Next Plan. At the same time, they also told me to cooperate with them, but isn't the mission given to me by the robot captain of the mechanical utopia to protect the Earth? What? Nobi Daichi was shocked when he heard what Lilulu said. He didn't expect that the Iron Man core of the mechanical utopia would be dispatched so soon. He thought it would take at least a few days. At the same time, he also understood that Lilulu should still have the communication function, which is a big trouble. Lilulu receives information directly into her mind, and if she wants to reply to information, she needs a special information communication device. But when Nobi Daichi rescued Lilulu, he didn't see any communication facilities. For Lilulu, whose current situation is unknown, this is good news. It seems that time is running out, and the pre-war preparations are about to begin. Nobi Daichi thought secretly. Then he left the desk and sat down to the right of Lilulu. Looking at the confused Lilulu, Nobi Daichi felt that he needed to guide her. Ahem. Then Lilulu, what do you think you should do? I don't know either. Lilulu paused and said. She really didn't know. After all, according to her current understanding, the humans on Earth were not bad. Then why did the Iron Man core of the mechanical utopia want to conquer the humans on Earth? Nobi Daichi pondered. It was not feasible to ask Lilulu to fight against the Iron Man core of the mechanical utopia with them. As for persuading Lilulu to help the Iron Man core of the mechanical utopia conquer the Earth, it was even more impossible. Then, Lilulu, let's do this. It seems that you are in a difficult situation. Then don't do anything for now, and see the situation first. How about it? Listening to Nobi Daichi's suggestion, Lilulu nodded, and it seemed that she agreed. Nobi Daichi looked at Lilulu's agreement, breathed a sigh of relief, thought about it, and said again. Then Lilulu, do you know the coordinates of the mechanical utopia in the universe? Hearing Nobi Daichi's question, Lilulu searched for the fragmented memories in her mind. After a while, Lilulu said, I know. Where? Nobi Daichi said excitedly. Although he roughly knew the coordinates of the mechanical utopia through the original work, no one knew whether the original work would be different from reality. Then Lilulu said a coordinate. But when Nobi Daichi heard the coordinates of the mechanical utopia mentioned by Lilulu, he was dumbfounded. Because he didn't understand it at all. Lilulu, think about it again. Is it really this? Nobi Daichi couldn't help asking. Lilulu heard Nobi Daichi's words and thought about it carefully again. Then she nodded and said, I only have this coordinate recorded in my mind. I feel that this coordinate should not be from the Earth. It should be that mechanical utopia. Nobi Daichi had a headache when he heard Lilulu's words. Could it be that what he said at the beginning, to change history by finding that God-man is impossible to achieve? Thinking of this, Nobi Daichi became a little anxious. After all, this is the last insurance measure, affected by unknown forces. Even if Nobi Daichi is familiar with the entire plot, he is not familiar with the entire plot, and only remembers a rough outline. This also makes him unable to grasp the overall situation now. But Nobi Daichi tried to calm himself down. After all, being anxious is useless and will only waste time. He thought about it again. In the original work, when Shizuka, Lilulu, and Miklas took the time machine to the planet where the mechanical utopia is located, there were no such complicated coordinates. Either the original work is different from reality, or it is not necessary to take a time machine to the planet where the mechanical utopia is located. Thinking of this, Nobi Daichi smiled and said to Lilulu, "Lilulu, do you want to see what the god who created you looks like?" God? Lilulu's eyes were puzzled, but she reacted immediately. The word God is one of the few memories left in her mind. For some reason, when she thought of God, her heart was suddenly filled with infinite admiration and respect. Lilulu said because of curiosity about this emotion. "I do. Well, if you really meet him, tell him what you remember. Oh, by the way, I will find you a helper to go with you." Needless to say, the help Nobi Daichi found was Shizuka. He was not completely confident about Lilulu, even if he was completely confident. Judging from the chaotic memory in Lilulu's mind now, it might get worse. "Who is that helper?" "Don't worry about it, I'll tell you." Oh. Seeing that Nobi Daichi didn't say anything else, Lilulu, who had been attracted by the comics, picked up the comic book and started reading it again. Nobi Daichi no longer paid attention to Lilulu. Let Shizuka and Lilulu go to the mechanical ideal country 30,000 years ago to change history together, and Shizuka will be the leader. This plan, if possible. Nobi Daichi didn't want to implement it, but he still had to prepare in advance. He would tell Shizuka that if their defeat was irreversible, then this plan would be implemented. Click. Just when Nobi Daichi was thinking about what to do in the future, the door was suddenly pushed open. Looking back, Nobi Daichi thought it was Nobita, but it turned out to be Doraemon. Of course, Nobita was there, but he was just following Doraemon. Nobita was watching TV in the living room. Through the open door of the living room, he saw Doraemon running anxiously in the corridor, and curiously followed him. Daichi, do you know?" Doraemon said anxiously as he walked in front of Nobi Daichi. "The Iron Man core of the mechanical utopia will attack the Earth tomorrow." Daichi, did you know it a long time ago?" Looking at Nobi Daichi with a calm face, Doraemon asked. Nobi Daichi nodded to indicate that it was true. "How did you know?" "You know, Doraemon also knew it through judo in the 4-dimensional pocket, but how did Nobi Daichi know it?" Nobi Daichi pointed to Lilulu who was sitting next to him. "Ah." Looking at Lilulu sitting next to Nobi Daichi, Doraemon screamed. He was so anxious just now that he ignored Lilulu next to Nobi Daichi. Then, didn't Lilulu hear what he said just now? Looking at Doraemon who was at a loss, Nobi Daichi said calmly, "Doraemon, it's okay, because Lilulu has lost her memory and her memory is disordered, so you don't have to worry." Oh. Hearing Nobi Daichi's words, Doraemon breathed a sigh of relief. If Lilulu, who didn't lose her memory, heard this kind of thing, it would be difficult to deal with. But after hearing Nobi Daichi's words, Doraemon also knew why Nobi Daichi was relieved to let Lilulu sit next to him. Chapter 155 Inspection. If Lilulu is still the same Lilulu, not to mention that Nobi Daichi would not let Lilulu sit next to him like this, Lilulu herself would not have the time to spare. Then Daichi, do you have any good ideas? Doraemon said and sat down next to Nobi Daichi. As for Nobita, since he knew about Lilulu's situation in the living room, and from Nobi Daichi's mouth just now, he was not as worried and scared as before, and sat down next to Doraemon. It is definitely not possible to rely on just a few of us. We must ask Shizuka, Fat Tiger and Sunia for help. Nobita Daichi said. Doraemon and Nobita nodded after hearing what Nobita Daichi said. They were sure to ask Shizuka, Fat Tiger and Sunia for help. Lilulu sat next to the three of them. He lowered his head to read the comics, not caring what Nobi Daichi, Doraemon, and Nobita would say. Daichi, I have a good idea, do you think it will work? Doraemon said. Then Doraemon paused for a moment and began to tell the story. Hearing what Doraemon said, Nobi Daichi was stunned. It was indeed the same as the original. He thought that, since many things have changed now, Doraemon could not think of this method and was going to say it himself. Doraemon naturally said that Judo would send out a lure signal to trick the Iron Man core of the mechanical utopia into the mirror world. First, it can avoid casualties of real humans on Earth, and second, it will also make it easier for them to deal with the Iron Man core. Nobi Daichi naturally had no objection and readily agreed. As for Nobita, he just listened to Nobi Daichi and Doraemon talking about the next plan without saying a word. Then let's go find Shizuka, Fat Tiger and Sunia for help now, Nobita always said excitedly without thinking. Not to mention that the Iron Man core of the mechanical utopia will not attack until tomorrow. Shizuka, Fat Tiger and Sunia haven't rested well yet. Nobi Daichi had no choice but to explain to Nobita helplessly. Oh. Nobita suddenly realized. At this time, the sky was just approaching dusk, and the afterglow of the setting sun sprinkled on the desk through the window, making the room dim. We will notify Shizuka, Fat Tiger and Sunia tonight, and ask them to prepare. The three of us will go into the mirror world tonight, to check the robot factory. I think Doraemon, you should also make some preparations, right? Hey, Daichi, do you know what I'm going to do? Doraemon asked. I don't know, but I think Doraemon, you will definitely make more preparations. Although the robot factory is already producing a large army of robots, I'm afraid that it can't produce many in such a short time. Nobi Daichi explained. Of course, he wouldn't say that he knew the original work, so he could only come up with other reasons. Well, I do want to make more preparations. Doraemon replied. Then let's decide it this way. Nobi Daichi said. Doraemon and Nobita had no objections. Daichi, what should be done with Lululu? Doraemon pointed to Lululu, who was sitting with her back to the three of them and reading a comic. Nobi Daichi pondered for a moment and said, Doraemon, take out the magic wallpaper house and let Lululu live in it first. Doraemon thought that Nobi Daichi's method was still feasible, so he nodded. Then he took out the magic wallpaper house from his 4-dimensional pocket. Sitting up from the ground, Doraemon walked to a wall near the door and pasted the magic wallpaper house on it. After pasting the magic wallpaper house on the wall, Doraemon walked back. Lululu, let me show you the magic wallpaper house first. Nobi Daichi said to Lululu. Yeah. Lululu, who was reading a comic with her head down, put down the comic in her hand, raised her head, and looked at Nobi Daichi. Then Nobi Daichi stood up, and Lululu also stood up after Nobi Daichi stood up. Nobi Daichi pushed the curtain of the magic wallpaper house from the bottom to the top, and the door of the magic wallpaper house was opened. Lululu followed Nobi Daichi into the magic wallpaper house. First there was a small corridor less than 10 meters long, and after walking through the corridor there was a wide space the size of a house. White light shone down from the ceiling, illuminating the entire space. After bringing Lululu into the magic wallpaper house, Nobi Daichi stopped where he was and stopped moving. Lululu walked around the space that was the size of an ordinary house. How do you feel? Nobi Daichi asked when he saw Lululu coming to him again. Very good. Lululu smiled. Nobi Daichi breathed a sigh of relief. If Lululu was not satisfied, it would be a bit troublesome. But Nobi Daichi was overthinking. Lululu didn't have any big requirements for this. Then Nobi Daichi walked out of the magic wallpaper house along the small corridor. Lululu followed him out. After all, it was not time to go to bed yet. Staying in the magic wallpaper house all the time would be boring. In a blink of an eye, it got dark. It was time for dinner. Nobi Daichi, Nobita and Doraemon all went downstairs to eat. Lululu didn't go downstairs to eat because she was a robot, and for some other reasons, she didn't need to eat. Daichi Nobi was also happy to see this. Otherwise, what was the matter with bringing a girl home for dinner so late at night? He, Nobita, and Doraemon naturally had no questions about this, but it was not certain for Nobita Tamako and Nobita Shinsuke. After dinner, Daichi Nobi, Nobita, and Doraemon returned to the second floor. When Daichi Nobi opened the door, he saw Lululu sitting next to the desk at first sight. He walked to the desk and took a look. Daichi Nobi found that Lululu was reading another comic. After such a long time, Lululu finished reading one comic and went to read another. Daichi Nobi thought it was normal, but there was one thing that made Daichi Nobi confused, whether it was good or bad. That is, Lululu might be addicted to comics. The comics that Lululu is reading now are very different from the previous ones. The title of the book is Grimm's Fairy Tales, a famous fairy tale known all over the world, written by the Grimm brothers. Daichi Nobi didn't know, while Lulu would read such a book with her thinking. Did she just pick it up casually? Shaking his head, Nobi Daichi stopped thinking about it. He had more important things to do now. Daichi, have you finished your meal? Seeing Nobi Daichi coming over, Lulu immediately put down the comic in her hand and smiled sweetly. Yeah. Nobi Daichi also hummed in response. After thinking for a while, Nobi Daichi said, Lulu, do you want to go to the mirror world? Mirror world, what is that? Hearing Nobi Daichi's words, Lulu looked puzzled. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 156. 4 people enter. Lulu, you don't know? This time it was Nobi Daichi's turn to be confused. Did Lulu even forget this? Yeah. Lulu nodded. The mirror world is a world opposite to this world. Although that's what I said, the mirror world is actually not much different from the real world, except that there are no people. Nobi Daichi explained slowly, fearing that Lulu wouldn't understand. But Nobi Daichi obviously thought too much. How could Lulu not understand such a simple thing? I see. Lulu nodded. Suddenly, Lulu's face changed. Lulu, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? Nobi Daichi saw Lulu's look and his heart tightened. Did something unexpected happen again? After a while, Lulu returned to normal and said at the same time, I received a message from the captain of the robot in the mechanical ideal country again. What message? Nobi Daichi said a little anxiously. Nobita and Doraemon behind Nobi Daichi also came behind Nobi Daichi after hearing Lulu say this. The captain of the robot from the machine Utopia said they will arrive on Earth at noon tomorrow. Lulu said. Hearing Lulu's words, Nobi Daichi's tense nerves relaxed. It turned out that they had only confirmed the exact time of the attack, which made him worry in vain. What he was most afraid of just now was that Lulu suddenly said that the Iron Man core of the machine Utopia had arrived on Earth. But fortunately, it was not the case. After all, their pre-war preparations were not ready yet. Without further delay, let's enter the mirror world and prepare now. Nobi Daichi said. But Daisuke, don't we have to notify Shizuka, Fat Tiger and Sunya? Doraemon said. Then Doraemon, you call Shizuka, Fat Tiger and Sunya, and tell them that they will be picked up by the Anywhere door to enter the mirror world at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Okay. Doraemon responded and went downstairs. I'll go help Doraemon. Nobita said and followed Doraemon downstairs. Needless to say, the call to Shizuka must have been made by Nobita. Then Lulu, do you want to go into the mirror world? After watching Doraemon and Nobita come down, Nobi Daichi turned around and asked Lulu. Yes. Lulu said without hesitation. She felt a little bored after staying in the house for so long, and going to the mirror world was just right for her to get some fresh air. Nobi Daichi was also happy to see that Lulu agreed without hesitation. Because if Lulu didn't enter the mirror world, it meant that she would be in the real world. Although Nobi Daichi was not worried about this, it was impossible to say that he was completely relieved that Lulu would stay in the real world. And he couldn't always think about whether Lulu would change when doing things in the mirror world, right? It would be great if Lulu could enter the mirror world with him, Nobita, and Doraemon. After a while, Nobita and Doraemon came back after calling Shizuka, Fat Tiger, and Sunya. How is it? Have they all been notified? Nobi Daichi asked Nobita and Doraemon. Lucky, they all have been notified. Although Shizuka had a little accident, she still received our message. Doraemon said. Well, let's go to the mirror world now. Nobi Daichi said. After Nobi Daichi finished speaking, Doraemon took out the upgraded indoor fishing pond from the 4-dimensional pocket. After spreading the upgraded indoor fishing pond on the ground, Doraemon took out the Rebellious World Entry Oil. Then Doraemon dropped a drop of Rebellious World Entry Oil on the surface of the upgraded indoor fishing pond. The surface of the upgraded indoor fishing pond also turned into a mirror as the oil spread. After seeing that the indoor fishing pond did not have any accidents and became the entrance to the mirror world, Doraemon put the rebellious world entry oil back into the 4-dimensional pocket. Let's go. Doraemon wanted to enter the mirror world, but was stopped by Nobi Daichi's loud shout. Wait a minute. Then Nobita quickly walked to the upgraded indoor fishing pond and rolled it up. If Nobita, Doraemon and Lulu were more careful, they would have seen that cold sweat was constantly pouring out of Nobita's forehead. That was a close call. Nobita kept saying secretly in his heart, "What's wrong?" Doraemon, Nobita and Lulu all looked at Nobita with strange faces. Did you forget that there are a group of robots in the mirror world? And when we left the mirror world, the passage we took was also at home. Nobita said with some regret. Of course, it was mainly aimed at Nobita and Lulu. After all, Lulu didn't know these things. Oh, sorry, almost. Doraemon scratched his head embarrassedly. Nobita also smiled at Nobita embarrassedly. Doraemon, take out the bamboo dragonflies. Oh, and prepare the air cannons to prevent us from encountering danger when entering the mirror world. Nobi Daichi said a few things that needed to be prepared. By the way, when we enter the mirror world, Doraemon, you should take back the indoor fishing pond as soon as possible. Then we will go directly to the robot base through the window. Nobi Daichi continued to say something. Then, under the gaze of Nobi Daichi and Nobita, Doraemon took out 4 bamboo dragonflies and 4 air cannons from the 4-dimensional pocket. After distributing them to Nobi Daichi and Nobita, Doraemon walked in front of Lulu. Lulu said, "No need, I can fly by myself, and I can also fire electromagnetic cannons." After hearing what Lulu said, Doraemon swallowed his saliva and put the extra bamboo dragonfly and air cannon back into the 4-dimensional pocket. After seeing that everyone was ready, Nobi Daichi spread out the indoor fishing pond again. Then Nobi Daichi entered the second floor room in the mirror world. Through the window, Nobi Daichi could see a lot of black smoke rising. Although it was night, he could still see outside because of the fire. After Nobi Daichi entered the mirror world through the upgraded indoor fishing pond, Lulu, Doraemon and Nobita followed suit and entered the mirror world. Then Doraemon rolled up the indoor fishing pond and planned to put it into the 4-dimensional pocket. Bang! At this time, the door on the second floor was suddenly blasted open and a robot nearly 2 meters tall walked in waving a black sickle. Bang! Nobi Daichi shouted quickly. Then the air cannon fired a shell and hit the machine standing in front of the few people. Bang! With a loud bang, the robot exploded into countless fragments with a burst of sparks. Chapter 157. Tens of thousands of troops. Let's go. Nobi Daichi suddenly felt something was wrong and shouted to the others, then flew away through the window on his bamboo dragonfly. After Nobi Daichi left, Doraemon quickly put the upgraded indoor fishing pond back into his 4-dimensional pocket. Then he followed Lulu and Nobita and flew away through the window one after another. A few seconds after they left, more than a dozen robots passed through the broken door and appeared at the place where Nobi Daichi and others were just now. Although it was night, it didn't seem particularly dark. The sky was dotted with stars and the earth was brightly lit with fire. Nobi Daichi took the lead in flying in the air. Lulu was parallel to him and Nobita was walking side by side with Doraemon. Suddenly, 2 blue spots appeared in front of him. Before Nobi Daichi could react, a lightning light as fast as lightning shot out from the side and hit the 2 blue spots. Boom. A ball of fire suddenly appeared where the blue spots were in front of him. It turned out that the 2 blue spots that Nobi Daichi saw were actually a flying robot. The moment the blue light appeared, Lulu instinctively fired the electromagnetic cannon from her hand. Nobita and Doraemon in the back were startled, but soon calmed down. There were no more accidents in the following flight. Following the previous memories, Nobita, Lulu, Nobita and Doraemon soon arrived at a wide flat land. Landing on the ground, Nobita looked at the empty ground and asked, "Dazzy, is this really where the robot factory is? Why does it look no different from the ordinary ground?" Of course there is no difference, otherwise it would be easily discovered, wouldn't it? Nobita not only did not answer Nobita's question, but also asked a question in return. "Come out." With Nobita's shout, the ground under the feet of the 4 people began to tremble, and Nobita, who was not prepared, almost fell down. Then, under the gaze of the four people, a huge factory slowly emerged from the land in front of them. The robot factory was equipped with voice control function by Nobita, and almost all functions of this robot factory can be controlled by Nobita's voice. Yes, it was Nobi Daichi's voice. Other people's voices were not allowed, because the robot factory did not record them. If they wanted to record them, they had to get the consent of the first generation voice controller, that is, Nobi Daichi. The dust on the robot factory was constantly falling down, because the robot factory was constantly floating out of the ground. Soon, the robot factory stopped making any sound, because the robot factory had completely floated out of the ground. Since the robot factory was far away from the town where Nobi Daichi, Nobita, Doraemon and others were, although the robot factory made a huge noise when it floated out of the ground, it was estimated that the robots in the mechanical utopia could not hear it. But even if they heard it and rushed over, it would be okay. After all, Nobi Daichi was in the base camp. Open the door. As soon as Nobi Daichi finished speaking, the door of the robot factory opened. Nobi Daichi walked in first, followed by Lulu, and Nobita and Doraemon were in a row. After entering the huge robot factory, Nobi Daichi kept walking to the right. Seeing this, Lulu, Nobita and Doraemon followed Nobi Daichi to the right. Soon Nobi Daichi came to a small computer with an LCD screen. There is no artificial intelligence. No, to be precise, there is no artificial intelligence like Doraemon. And this computer can also be controlled by voice. As for hand control, let alone it has no keyboard. Even if Nobi Daichi has it, he may not be able to use it. There are two ways to control this computer that controls the entire robot factory. One is voice control, and the other is to directly click on the screen. In comparison, voice control is more convenient. Call up relevant information. As soon as Nobi Daichi finished speaking, the screen on the computer that controls the entire robot factory suddenly changed. Prop name, Robot Factory Owner, Nobi Daichi currently manufactured 100,000 land robots, 50,000 flying robots, and no ocean type machines. Ocean type robots are not very useful in Nobi Daichi's opinion. After all, it is impossible for the Iron Man core of the mechanical utopia to go to the sea to find humans, right? Even if they really find them, what does it have to do with Nobi Daichi? After all, there are no humans in this world. Seeing the information displayed on the computer, Nobi Daichi frowned. This number is too small. He knew that the robot factory had not been in operation for long, and the manufacturing speed of one robot per few seconds was not slow. But in his opinion, it was not a question of whether it was slow or not, but a question of whether it was enough. Although Nobi Daichi did not know how many robots the Iron Man core of the mechanical utopia had, but seeing that it could sweep the world in the original work, the number must be quite large. However, Nobi Daichi's frown suddenly stretched out, because he thought of a good idea. Lulu, Nobita and Doraemon also surrounded Nobi Daichi. Looking at the number of robots manufactured displayed on the computer, Nobita and Doraemon were shocked. They did not think it was too little like Nobi Daichi, but they thought it was too much. After all, they were just a few people at the beginning, including Shizuka, Fat Tiger and Sunia, and now it has increased by more than 10 times, 100 times. And just as Nobi Daichi and others were staring at the screen, the information behind currently manufactured was constantly refreshed every few seconds. As long as Nobi Daichi doesn't order to stop, the robot factory will not stop working. Doraemon, there is no problem here. What else do you want to prepare? Nobi Daichi turned to ask Doraemon. I think the solution is to install a modified Echo Mountain. Doraemon said. What is that? Nobita was puzzled. The modified Echo Mountain can reflect explosions and flashes back. Doraemon explained to everyone. Then let's go and set it up. Nobi Daichi said. As for this place, we will come again tomorrow anyway, so let's do it this way for now. Yeah. Nobita and Doraemon responded. Lulu just listened to the conversation and said nothing. However, her curiosity can be seen from her looking at the huge robot manufacturing site from time to time. Led by Nobi Daichi, the four walked out of the robot factory. Hide. Boom. Nobi Daichi and his friends hid underground in the robot factory again before flying away. Later, under the leadership of Doraemon, they spent several hours installing a lot of modified eco mountains in Tokyo. After installing the improved eco mountain, Nobi Daichi and his companions came to a dense jungle. It's finally over. I'm so tired. Nobita lay motionless on the grass, staring at the sky, looking like he had lost all hope in life. Chapter 158 goes down in history. Nobita rolled his eyes. Nobita contributed the least in the installation of the improved eco mountain, and he said he was tired. But think about Nobita's physique, and then think about him, Doraemon, and Lulu. One in the early stage of the mortal realm, two robots. It seems that it is not unreasonable for Nobita to be tired. It's almost done. Let's go back. Doraemon said to everyone, and most importantly to Nobita. Then Doraemon took out the upgraded indoor fishing pond from the 4-dimensional pocket and spread it on the grass. Passing through the upgraded indoor fishing pond, Doraemon, Nobita and Lulu returned to the real world. Nobita didn't want to move at first and wanted to lie down for a while. What's that sound? Nobita sat up and looked around. A 2-meter tall robot with blue eyes suddenly emerged from the grass. Help. Bang. Nobita screamed and then waved the air cannon on his hand. As for the result, Nobita didn't care. After firing a cannonball, he went into the upgraded indoor fishing pond. Hey, Nobita, what's wrong with you? Looking at the panicked Nobita, Doraemon didn't understand. Nobita was thoughtful. Seeing Nobita's appearance, he probably saw something that scared him. In the mirror world, such things should only be those robots from the mechanical utopia. Nobita just smiled awkwardly and didn't answer Doraemon's words. He didn't want to tell others about such embarrassing things. Doraemon didn't care. After putting the upgraded indoor fishing pond back into the 4-dimensional pocket, he took out the door. Let's go home. Nobita rushed to the door impatiently, held the door handle and opened it. Behind the door was the room on the 2nd floor. Nobita and his friends went home through the door one after another. After the 4 of them went home, the door slowly disappeared from the bottom to the top. Nobita yawned, walked to the closet, and took out the quilt. Seeing this, Nobi Daichi also took out his quilt from the closet. Seeing Lulu standing next to him and Nobita, Nobi Daichi said a little embarrassedly, "Lulu, go and rest first. I'll call you tomorrow." Oh. Lulu agreed, opened the curtain of the magic wallpaper house, and walked in. Nobi Daichi breathed a sigh of relief. Lulu stood next to him, and Nobita making the quilt, and he always felt uncomfortable. Although Lulu is a robot, she also looks like a girl. After making the bed, Nobi Daichi and Nobita lay on it one after another to sleep, while Doraemon went into his closet to sleep. At night, the sky is full of stars, and each star is unknown how many light years away from the Earth. These stars represent one star after another, with huge energy. The Milky Way, at the other end, is a galaxy comparable to the solar system. There is an uninhabited fiery red planet on this galaxy that is comparable to the solar system. The planet is surrounded by a Saturn-like ring. There are almost countless robots living on this planet. These robots all belong to the same country, the mechanical utopia. It is said that the creator of this country is a human being, and all the mechanical utopia robots call him God. The godlike man only created 2 robots at the beginning. One is called Sham, and the other is called Yam. All future robots are made by Sham and Yam. However, when the mechanical utopia was first established, it was not called this name, but Nekotibia. It has been called Nekotibia for 30,000 years, but now it has changed its name to the mechanical utopia. The reason for the change of the name of the mechanical utopia has a lot to do with the great changes in the social class of this country, and this has to start with the history of this country. The history of this robot country is very similar to that of humans on Earth. At the beginning of the founding of Nekotibia, there were nobles, civilians, and slaves. Later, with the popularization of the idea of equality, slaves and civilians began to rise up against the nobles, and the social class underwent a great change, and the result was naturally successful. Since the mechanical utopia lacked the slave class, an important labor resource, it turned its attention to the Earth where humans lived at the other end of the Milky Way. This is also the reason why the mechanical utopia conquered the humans on Earth. Still in the huge circular venue, the robot captain of the mechanical utopia stood on the high platform and looked down at the people of the mechanical utopia below. People of the mechanical utopia, tomorrow will be a brand new beginning in the history of our mechanical utopia. We will create a history that will go down in history, conquering the humans on Earth and having a new labor force. And as the creator of this history, you will also be recorded in history. When he said this, the robot captain of the mechanical utopia swung the iron crutch in his hand forward. The congressman of the mechanical utopia below and countless people cheered immediately. The entire huge venue was filled with various cheers for a while. Keng, keng, keng. Looking at the scene of many robots cheering below, the robot captain waited for a moment before knocking the iron crutch in his hand. The whole venue instantly became quiet, and the robot captain nodded with satisfaction. Let's go. As soon as the robot captain finished speaking, huge spaceships emitting cold light suddenly appeared above everyone. The shortest of these spaceships was several hundred meters long, and the longest could reach thousands of meters. Black was almost the main color of all the spaceships. Under the gaze of many robots in the circular field, the robot captain flew to one of the spaceships. The spaceship that was about to fly to the Earth was already full of robots, except for the robot captain. Although there were many robots going to the Earth, it was impossible for all the robots in the country to go. The robot captain walked into the cockpit and ordered all the spaceships, start space jump. Under the gaze of many robots in the circular field, many spaceships turned into streams of light and broke through the space and flew to the Earth. There was no conversation all night. At 6 o'clock in the morning, Nobi Daichi got up on time. After Nobi Daichi got up, Doraemon also got up. Only Nobita was still snoring, but under the shouts of Nobi Daichi and Doraemon, Nobita also got up. After Nobita and Doraemon had packed up, Nobi Daichi decided to call Lilulu. Pulling aside the curtain and entering the magic wallpaper house, Nobi Daichi did not see Lilulu. Strange, where did Lilulu go? Nobi Daichi muttered as he walked out of the magic wallpaper house. Could it be that Lilulu? A bad idea suddenly popped up in Nobi Daichi's heart. But the next moment, Nobi Daichi breathed a sigh of relief, because Lilulu flew in from the window. Chapter 159. Everyone gathered. After Lilulu flew in through the window, she walked to the bookshelf and put the book in her hand back on the bookshelf. Nobi Daichi took a closer look and found that the book in Lilulu's hand was the comic book Gray's Fairy Tales. Could it be that Lilulu read the comics all night? Nobi Daichi thought to himself, but this thought was only fleeting. After all, the most important task now was to find a way to fight against the Iron Man core of the mechanical utopia. In fact, Nobi Daichi's guess was not wrong. Lilulu did not sleep and rest last night, but walked out of the magic wallpaper house when she was bored in the middle of the night. Then she took the unfinished comic book Gray's Fairy Tales and flew out of the window to the rooftop to read it. She read it all night because Lilulu could see at night, so there was no problem of whether she could see clearly. After Lilulu put the comic book Gray's Fairy Tales back on the bookshelf, she walked in front of Nobi Daichi, but did not say a word. Lilulu, what's the matter with you? Nobi Daichi couldn't help asking. Nothing. Then why did you walk in front of me? Nobi Daichi was confused. I don't know. I just want to follow you. Well, Nobi Daichi was completely convinced. Nobi Daichi, Nobita, Doraemon, Shizuka, Fat Tiger and Sunia agreed to meet at 8 o'clock in the morning. It was only 6:30, so it was still early. So Nobi Daichi, Nobita and Doraemon all had breakfast. The reason why the agreed time was 8 o'clock in the morning was to let Shizuka, Fat Tiger and Sunia have breakfast and have strength. After all, if you are hungry, even if you can fight against the Iron Man core of the mechanical utopia, your efficiency will be reduced. What's more, if you feel physically weak or faint from hunger in the middle of the journey, it's no joke. When Nobi Daichi, Nobita and Doraemon finished breakfast, it was exactly 7 o'clock. Lilulu, aren't you hungry? In other words, what do you rely on to keep moving? Nobi Daichi looked up at Lilulu and asked curiously. I don't know, but I feel like my energy seems to be endless, and I don't need to replenish it. Lilulu shook her head, indicating that she didn't know either. Doraemon, do you know what's going on? Nobi Daichi had to turn around and ask Doraemon. He would never believe that Lilulu said her energy was endless. After all, if that was really the case, wouldn't it mean that the mechanical utopia has already developed the so-called endless energy? If there is such a thing as endless energy, why would they need to capture the human beings on Earth as labor and find something to do? Well, I'm not sure about this. There is no relevant introduction in my knowledge repository. Doraemon apologized to Nobi Daichi. Okay then. Seeing this, Nobi Daichi could only hide this question in his heart. Looking at the alarm clock on the table, there was still nearly an hour before 8 o'clock, which was relatively ample time. Although the agreed time is 8 o'clock in the morning, it is better to go to the mirror world early to prepare. After all, no one knows if there will be any accident at the last minute. Nobi Daichi thought silently in his heart. Thinking of this, Nobi Daichi said to Doraemon and Nobita, "Why don't we go and call Shizuka, Fat Tiger and Sunia early? If they are ready, pick them up. If not, wait a little longer." But we agreed to go at 8 o'clock in the morning. Wouldn't it be a bad idea to go now? Nobita asked his own question. This was also the problem that Nobi Daichi was worried about, so he didn't know how to answer for a while. It's okay. I believe Shizuka, Fat Tiger and Sunia will understand. Just when the atmosphere fell into silence, Doraemon said, "Then, let's do it this way." Nobita hesitated for a moment. Now Nobi Daichi, Nobita and Doraemon reached a consensus for a short time. As for the fourth person in the room, Lulu, she didn't say a word from beginning to end, but just listened quietly to the conversation between Nobi Daichi and others. Looking at Lulu like this, Nobi Daichi suddenly felt that this kind of Lulu seemed to be pretty good, at least much better than the Lulu who was bent on conquering the human beings on Earth. Then Doraemon took out the anywhere door from his 4-dimensional pocket. After the anywhere door opened, the door was right outside the door. Doraemon walked to the door of Shizuka's house and shouted loudly, "Shizuka! Shizuka!" Click. With Doraemon's shout, the door of Shizuka's house opened quickly, and Shizuka carefully poked her head out. Nobita and Nobi Daichi breathed a sigh of relief when they saw Doraemon and the anywhere door at the door, and that they could see the second floor room of Nobita's house through the anywhere door. "Doraemon, is there anything wrong?" "Shizuka, if you are ready now, we can set off." "Ah." Shizuka was surprised. Although she had known about this moment for a long time, she still hesitated a little when she really came to this step. But Shizuka made up her mind immediately. "Ready." Shizuka didn't ask why the time was advanced. It was something that Nobita Daichi and Doraemon didn't expect. But Nobita and Nobi Daichi thought it was good, saving them from explaining. Then Shizuka followed Doraemon through the anywhere door and came to Nobita's house. "Lulu, has it been repaired?" Shizuka asked curiously when she saw the intact Lulu standing next to Nobi Daichi. As for being afraid, seeing that the always timid Nobita was not afraid, Shizuka would be even less afraid. "Who is this?" Lulu lowered her head and asked Nobi Daichi. "This is our good friend, Shizuka." Nobi Daichi replied to Lulu without looking up and said to Shizuka, "Lulu can be said to be repaired, no problem." Then through the anywhere door, Nobi Daichi and his friends also took Fat Tiger and Sunia over. Shizuka, Fat Tiger and Sunia did not encounter any accidents. They were all ready. This was something Nobi Daichi did not expect, but it was something Nobi Daichi was happy to see. After seeing that everyone was present, Doraemon took out the upgraded indoor fishing pond and said, "Let's go." Before setting off, Doraemon had equipped everyone, except Lulu, with a bamboo dragonfly, an air cannon or an air gun. As for the Kamen Rider armor, we will have to wait until we reach the mirror world. Through the upgraded indoor fishing pond, everyone entered the mirror world again. Nobi Daichi looked at the almost destroyed house and felt a little helpless, but he didn't think too much about it. Since this place is not very safe, under Nobi Daichi's suggestion, everyone came to a hidden forest. Chapter 160 Magnifying Light. Then Doraemon took out the Kamen Rider armor summoner from his 4-dimensional pocket. Nobi Daichi introduced the transformation methods to them. Nobita, Fat Tiger and Sunia all picked a Kamen Rider armor they liked very excitedly. As for Shizuka, she felt that the Kamen Rider armor was too ugly, and she didn't want to transform into a Kamen Rider. Since no one forced her, she just let it go. Although Doraemon didn't expect Nobi Daichi to prepare a Kamen Rider armor for him, he was very touched, but he refused like Shizuka. As for the reason, Doraemon didn't say it, but no one cared. "What should we do next?" Sunia, who was holding one of the 5 Kamen Rider armors, asked. He didn't transform, which was Nobi Daichi's request. After all, it was not the time yet. Although Sunia was very reluctant, he didn't have any good way. The same was true for Nobita and Fat Tiger, who didn't transform. We need to create a large enough entrance to the mirror world. Although the upgraded version of the indoor fishing pond can be enlarged, it is not the best choice. Because it will be easy for the Iron Man core of the mechanical utopia to find out that this world is fake, so it is better for us to find a larger lake, Nobi Daichi said to everyone. Then, Nobita was about to say something when he was interrupted by Nobi Daichi. But before that, there is one more thing to do. Nobi Daichi did not explain in detail. He put on the bamboo dragonfly and flew to the location of the robot factory. Others followed him. After arriving at the location of the robot factory, under Nobi Daichi's command, the robot factory emerged from the ground. Shizuka, Fat Tiger and Sunia, who were unaware of it, were shocked and stunned. They actually have such a secret weapon? Nobi Daichi ignored the people behind him and came to the computer that controlled the entire robot factory. Release all the robots that have been built. Nobi Daichi's order. 2 words OK appeared on the computer and were automatically pressed. Then the robot factory began to operate, and the door that could only accommodate 1 person in and out automatically expanded. Under the gaze of Nobi Daichi, Lululu, Nobita, Doraemon, Shizuka, Fat Tiger and Sunia, one by one, robots of red, black, yellow and other colors came from the back of the robot factory in rows and squares. The footsteps were uniform and the squares were neat and orderly, which gave everyone a great pressure. Tap, 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 tap. Under the gaze of everyone, one by one, the neat and uniform squares of robots walked out of the door from the space behind the robot factory. Not only that, Nobi Daichi seemed to have sensed something and suddenly looked up at the top of the robot factory. I saw that the iron plate above the robot factory also opened a lot of exits, and a lot of sunlight shone into the robot factory through the exits. One by one, the flying robots flew out through the unknown number of exits above. All this made Nobi Daichi feel like a dream, as if he had come to a science fiction movie. Let's go out too, Nobi Daichi said to the others. Then he walked out of the robot factory first, and Lululu followed him out of the robot factory. Shizuka and Doraemon followed him out. Nobita, Fat Tiger and Sunia wanted to take a closer look at the robot factory, but after seeing Nobi Daichi and the others leave, they reluctantly left. When everyone arrived outside the robot factory, a large number of robots were already standing outside in an orderly manner. At the same time, there was a steady stream of robots coming out of the robot factory. After all, hundreds of thousands of robots could not be produced so quickly. As for the flying machines that flew out from above the robot factory, they landed and gathered not far from here. Looking at the mighty army of robots, except Nobi Daichi and Lululu, everyone else couldn't help swallowing their saliva. It's time to get down to business, Nobi Daichi muttered, and then walked in front of Doraemon. Doraemon, can I borrow your old and new magnifying lights? The old magnifying lights were something Doraemon had before, and the new magnifying lights were something Doraemon had recently purchased. Dazzy, what are you going to do? Doraemon asked, taking out the old and new magnifying lights from his 4-dimensional pocket. You'll know when you see them. Nobi Daichi simply said this without explaining anything more. Then, under the gaze of others, Nobi Daichi flew in front of a group of flying robots. Although the flying robots did not fly out in rows and columns, they automatically formed square arrays after landing. Even Nobi Daichi could not help but marvel at it. Landing in front of the flying robots, which were almost 2 meters tall, Nobi Daichi turned on the old magnifying light and put it on the ground. Then he turned on the new magnifying light to magnify the old one. Every time the old one magnified a little, Nobi Daichi stepped back a little until Nobi Daichi saw that it was almost done, and then he turned off the new one. At this time, the many flying robots illuminated by the old magnifying light were magnified more than 10 times. Nobi Daichi turned on the new magnifying lamp and shone it on the old one again. The old one returned to its original state. He picked up the old one and turned it off. Magnifying lamp. It can be used to magnify the size and weight of an object. It will return to its original state after another shining. It is a very practical prop. Others, including Lilulu, were shocked by Nobi Daichi's operation. It can actually be like this? Then, wouldn't it be more powerful if we use the magnifying lamp to magnify ourselves? Nobita was thinking wildly. Nobi Daichi certainly didn't know what Nobita was thinking. He didn't want to guess, and didn't have the time. Then, Nobi Daichi followed the same method, and magnified all the robots that had already walked out of the robot factory. Nobi Daichi didn't have to worry about the venue being not big enough. The reason why he magnified the flying machines first was that he wanted to let them fly farther after magnifying them, so as not to occupy this not so small piece of land. Looking at the army of robots that couldn't be magnified in a short time, Nobi Daichi decided that it would be better to get the entrance and exit of the mirror world as soon as possible. So I told Doraemon about this, and then Doraemon took Nobita and Shizuka to find a suitable lake. Fat Tiger and Sunia thought this place was interesting at first, but now they find it boring, so they followed Doraemon, Nobita and Shizuka to find a suitable lake. Suddenly, only Lilulu was left in the venue. Don't ask why the magnifying lamp didn't magnify things other than robots. Chapter 161. It will be on the shelves at 12 noon today. One chapter will be released at 12 noon, and there will be another chapter in the afternoon, which is similar to the past. Rules for adding more chapters. One chapter will be added for every 500 subscriptions, and one chapter will be added for every 100 subscriptions. Limited time. 12 noon today to 12 noon tomorrow. One chapter will be added for every 10,000 rewards, no time limit. The routine rules for adding more chapters in the novel world are just for reading. Few new authors can achieve this achievement. Besides, I don't want to add more chapters. Adding more chapters is tiring. Xianayu is my goal. Because the author was greatly influenced by readers at the beginning, an irreversible mistake was made. The Emperor Armor appeared too early. Of course, it was mainly the author's problem. I imagined that the Emperor Armor would appear not too late, but also not too early, and I would add many restrictions, but the author's mentality was not good at the beginning, and it seems not so good now. This book has many loopholes and many people criticize it. However, as long as you criticize it correctly, and your tone is not too bad, the author can accept it. There aren't many people who have deleted my posts and permanently banned me, but there are quite a few. The author is not a person with a fragile heart, nor is he a broad-minded person. Fanfiction is a niche, and Doraemon is a niche among niches, so I wrote it for fun at the beginning, and I didn't think about making much money, just to make some pocket money. I'm going to be frank, I'm just a perfect attendance, a little bit. I don't know if this book will be discontinued. Anyway, it won't be discontinued for 3 months starting from next month. There should be no accidents during this period. After that, that's too far away. Let's not talk about it for now. The number of people who support it will determine how the author will write in the future. To be honest, this fanfiction is probably the last one to be put on the shelves. Generally, it is put on the shelves with more than 100,000 or 200,000. This one is almost 300,000. The main framework Doraemon will not change, and other worlds are another matter. If you really support the author, you can watch videos on Kidian to get Kidian coins, and you can get a lot every day, 20 Kidian coins for sure. Anyway, there are only 2 chapters a day. The premise is that you really like this book. That's it. Chapter 162 Double Happiness. At this time, Nobi Daichi was standing in front of a square array of hundreds of robots, performing the enlargement operation. Lilulu looked at Nobita, Doraemon and others who flew away, and then looked at Nobi Daichi. Then Lilulu flew to the side of Nobi Daichi, and watched Nobi Daichi busying around. After Nobi Daichi finished with this robot square, he gave another order, and under his order, the enlarged robots automatically left here. Then Nobi Daichi came to the side of another robot square that was larger than the previous robot square, intending to repeat the previous operation. At this time, Lilulu suddenly said gently, "Dazzy, can you let me try?" Although enlarging the robot is not a difficult thing, it is very boring, because it has been a few actions back and forth. At this time, suddenly hearing that someone wants to share this boring thing with him, Nobi Daichi really wants it. Almost as soon as Lilulu finished speaking, Nobi Daichi blurted out, "Okay." Then Nobi Daichi quickly handed 2 magnifying lights to Lilulu, and the speed made Lilulu couldn't help but be stunned. Lilulu had seen Nobi Daichi's operation before, and she learned it after analyzing it in her mind. Then Lilulu flew in front of a robot array and performed a magnifying operation similar to Nobi Daichi. After 4 or 5 times in a row, the excitement on Lilulu's face gradually disappeared, replaced by boredom. Nobi Daichi followed Lilulu, fearing that she would operate improperly, and also witnessed Lilulu's excitement from the beginning to the numbness now. After magnifying a robot array again, Lilulu flew in front of Nobi Daichi with an expressionless face and stuffed the 2 magnifying lights into Nobi Daichi without saying anything. Looking at the army of robots that continued to walk out of the robot factory, it seemed endless, and Nobi Daichi couldn't help but feel his scalp tingling. How many lifetimes will it take to magnify it all? But it seems there is no other way. No. Nobi Daichi suddenly stopped his steps to continue to enlarge the robot formation. If that's the case, it doesn't seem impossible. Thinking this way, Nobi Daichi flew in front of a black robot that looked like a transformer and was 30 meters tall. After observing the size of the black robot's palm, Nobi Daichi flew to the ground. That's right, the method Nobi Daichi thought of was to let the robots made by the robot factory help him with the boring operation of enlarging. Anyway, these robots obey his orders 100%, and there is no need to worry about any accidents. After putting the old magnifying lamp on the ground, Nobi Daichi used the new magnifying lamp to enlarge the old magnifying lamp to the size he thought was appropriate. Then he ordered the 30-meter tall black robot to pick up the enlarged old magnifying lamp. Looking at the old magnifying lamp held in the black robot's hand, Nobi Daichi breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed to be just right. He lowered his head and looked at the new magnifying lamp in his hand. If this one can also be enlarged, wouldn't it be double efficiency? Double happiness? Without saying much, Nobi Daichi ordered the black robot to enlarge the new magnifying lamp in his hand. Then Nobi Daichi called a yellow robot that was about the same height as the black robot to hold the new magnifying lamp. After that, things were much simpler. Nobi Daichi directly ordered the black robot and the yellow robot to enlarge the robot phalanxes that had already walked out of the robot factory. At the same time, Nobi Daichi also gave orders to those robot phalanxes to automatically leave their original positions after being enlarged. Nobi Daichi watched them operate for a while beside the black robot and the yellow robot, and was relieved when he found that there were no problems. It seemed that his plan was working. Lilulu also followed Nobi Daichi to the right and watched the black robot and the yellow robot perform the enlargement operation, her eyes full of curiosity. After watching for a while, Nobi Daichi felt that it was not a good idea to stay like this. It was not only a waste of time, but also a waste of life. Of course, the most important thing was that it was too boring. Watching the black robot and the yellow robot enlarge the robot phalanx was quite interesting at first, but later it became much more monotonous, although most things were like this. But what else can we do if we don't stay here to watch? Nobi Daichi thought as he looked at the army of robots below. It's impossible to find Nobita, Doraemon and others. Although this is just a mirror world, it is as big as the real world. Nobita, Doraemon, Shizuka, Fat Tiger and Sunia may not run too far, but they definitely can't get close. Forget it, let's take a break first. Although Nobi Daichi is not physically tired because of his strength in the early stage of the mortal realm, he is mentally tired. Looking at a green hillside in the distance, Nobi Daichi said to Lilulu, "Lilulu, let's go there to rest for a while." Okay. Lilulu is not tired, but the key is that this place is too boring. The place that Nobi Daichi pointed to seems to be boring, but the scenery seems to be pretty good. After seeing Lilulu agreed, Nobi Daichi no longer hesitated and flew straight to the hillside. As for the safety of the robot factory, Nobi Daichi is not worried. He has already ordered the enlarged robot army to guard here. After all, there was such a big commotion here, and some of the robots from the mechanical utopia that had arrived earlier would have discovered the clues here. There were already quite a few robots from the mechanical utopia that were trampled to death by the magnified robot army. The other robots from the mechanical utopia left here in disgrace after finding that they were really powerless. lying in the dense green grass with his hands on his head, feeling the breeze, looking up at the azure sky with only a few white clouds. Nobi Daichi felt particularly calm for a moment. Lilulu also lay next to Nobi Daichi in the same way, staring at the sky with wide eyes, but she could not see anything, and her heart had almost no emotional fluctuations about the rare beautiful sky. After all, Lilulu was made for war, and it is estimated that there are not many programs installed for appreciating the scenery. However, even robots can evolve. Turning his head, Nobi Daichi looked at Lilulu, who was staring at the sky with wide eyes, and he did not have any other thoughts in his mind at this time. After all, Lilulu is just a robot, what can he think about? As if thinking of something, Nobi Daichi suddenly called Lilulu. Lilulu. HMM. After hearing what Nobi Daichi said, Lilulu also turned her head, and their eyes met for a moment. Thanks to the reader 2020305153823057 for the 2 monthly tickets, and the reader 2019041023295781 for the 2 monthly tickets. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 163, Arrival on Earth. Ahem. Although he knew that Lilulu was just a robot, Nobi Daichi still felt awkward. So Nobi Daichi sat up, and Lilulu followed suit. Is there something wrong, Daichi? Lilulu couldn't help asking when she saw Nobi Daichi sitting up for a long time without saying anything. Nobi Daichi, who was silent for a long time, finally spoke. Lilulu, listen to me. I'm talking about if you recover your memory and find that conquering the human beings on Earth is your mission, what will you do? Nobi Daichi thought about this question for a long time, and finally decided to ask it. This time it was Lilulu's turn to be silent, but after a moment Lilulu said firmly, if I really recover my memory, I will persuade the robot captain of the mechanical utopia to give up the idea of conquering the human beings on Earth. Hahaha, I just asked casually, don't worry about it. Looking at Lilulu's serious and determined face, Nobi Daichi couldn't help laughing. Okay, you dare to laugh at me? I. After saying I for a long time, Lilulu couldn't utter a word. It seems that she is at a loss for words, Nobi Daichi thought secretly, and Nobi Daichi couldn't help laughing again. Just looking at Lilulu's eyes that were about to spark, Nobi Daichi coughed twice to stop the laughter in time. Lilulu looked at Nobi Daichi, who was trying hard to hold back his laughter, and she felt annoyed, but she calmed down immediately. Strange, why did I have that emotion just now? Lilulu was puzzled. Seeing that Lilulu immediately regained her composure, Nobi Daichi didn't care, just thinking that she was a robot, and her emotions might not be as rich as humans. Even though Lilulu's emotions in the original work seemed to be similar to those of humans, that was the original work, and this was reality. Seeing that Lilulu didn't want to say anything more, Nobi Daichi lay down again with his hands on his head. Although the sun in the sky was emitting scorching rays that illuminated everything, and it was summer, Nobi Daichi, who was lying under the shade of the tree, did not feel how hot it was. On the contrary, he felt particularly comfortable under the breeze, and before he knew it, Nobi Daichi closed his eyes. Daichi. Huh? Why did I hear Nobita's voice? It must be a dream. Let's sleep a little longer. No, wasn't I lying in the shade of the tree on the hillside with Lilulu to rest? How could I be dreaming? Nobi Daichi was suddenly awakened and sat up, with cold sweat on his forehead. He looked down, and saw that it was still the bush. Not far away, Nobita, Doraemon, Shizuka, Fat Tiger, and Sunia were flying towards him. Looking at the tree behind him, Lilulu was lying on a thick branch, imitating Nobi Daichi, holding her head with her hands, and looking into the distance. I actually fell asleep? Damn it. Nobi Daichi was not just angry words. He could actually fall asleep in such an environment. It was really damnable. Although he is now in the early stage of the mortal realm, the amount of sleep he gets every day is about the same as that of a normal human. He doesn't need to sleep or reduce his sleep time just because his cultivation level has improved. He doesn't know if it's because his cultivation level is not high enough or for some other reason. I don't know how long I slept. Nobi Daichi was a little anxious, so he stood up instead of sitting on the grass. Lulu saw Nobi Daichi standing up from the grass, and it seemed that he was going to leave here. He rolled down from a branch 4 or 5 meters high. When he fell, Lulu was squatting and supporting himself with one hand. He stood up and clapped his hands. Lulu walked to the side of Nobi Daichi. Looking at Lulu who walked to his side, Nobi Daichi suddenly asked, "Lulu, how long have I slept? How long have I slept?" Tens of minutes. Lulu thought for a while after hearing what Nobi Daichi said. Not too long, but I must never make such a mistake again in the future. Nobi Daichi thought secretly. What's wrong, Daichi? Lulu looked at Nobi Daichi with a puzzled expression. He just slept on the ground for a while. What's the matter? Nothing, nothing. Let's meet up with Nobita, Doraemon and others. Nobi Daichi started the bamboo dragonfly and flew to Nobita, Doraemon and others. Soon Nobi Daichi and Lulu met up with Nobita, Doraemon, Shizuka, Fat Tiger and Sunia. Okay, Daichi, Doraemon, Shizuka and I have worked hard to find a suitable lake, but you are sleeping here. Nobita looked at Nobi Daichi with resentment, which made Nobi Daichi have goosebumps all over his body. Nobi Daichi automatically ignored Nobita's words and said to Doraemon, "Doraemon, you should have found a suitable lake." Yeah. Doraemon nodded repeatedly and continued. "Not only did we find a lake that is suitable for the entrance to the mirror world, we also hid Judo next to the lake so that Judo could send out a lure signal to attract the Iron Man core of the mechanical utopia." That's good. Dazzy, how are you doing here? After explaining the situation on his side, Doraemon asked about the situation on Nobi Daichi's side. "It should be almost done. I'll take you to see it," Nobi Daichi said with a guilty conscience. Then he flew straight to the robot factory, and the others followed Nobi Daichi to the robot factory. Before Nobi Daichi flew to the robot factory, he saw the almost endless army of robots, and was quite shocked. The others who were only one step slower than Nobi Daichi were also shocked when they saw this scene. Robots were still walking out or flying out of the robot factory, and the nearly 30-meter tall black and yellow robots were mechanically performing magnification operations. Nobi Daichi did not stop the robot factory from working because he did not know how many people there were in the so-called Iron Man core of the mechanical utopia, and he had to do his best to be safe. But Nobi Daichi will attack before the Iron Man core of the mechanical utopia. This seems difficult to control. Then he will take back the old and new magnifying lights when he thinks it's about time. Looking at the OK robot army in front of him, Nobi Daichi breathed a sigh of relief. "Doraemon, it's almost time now. Where should we hide? With so many robots, they will definitely not attack by themselves at the beginning." "That's crazy. Dang. I've been ready for a long time." Doraemon took out one prop after another from his 4-dimensional pocket. The vast universe is full of stars. One after another, dark spaceships of 100 meters and 1000 meters in length are flying in space. A meteorite of more than 10 meters long slowly slid in front of the front spaceship. Boom. A huge blue laser directly smashed it. "Start space jump again," the robot captain of the mechanical utopia in the cockpit said. The next moment, all the spaceships traveling in the silent starry sky disappeared in place. When it reappeared, it was already in the mirror world. Thanks to the reader Yi Zangai for the reward of 1,500 Kidian coins. Chapter 164 Collision. Mirror World, Tokyo, Japan. It was already 11 o'clock in the morning. On a tall mountain, through the transparent ceiling of 1 meter wide and 2 meters long, everyone saw dozens of huge spaceships suddenly appearing in the sky. The moment the numerous spaceships appeared, they almost blocked the sunlight in the sky. For a moment, hundreds of kilometers in radius were plunged into darkness, which could be described as covering the sky and the sun. Looking at this scene, Nobi Daichi secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, they were prepared in advance, otherwise the consequences would be disastrous. The robots of the machine utopia attacked in advance within his expectations, so he would not say anything about it. The mountain where Nobi Daichi and others were located had an underground space of about 10 meters, and everyone gathered in this space the size of an ordinary house. This is simply too terrifying. Sunia looked at the dozens of spaceships that suddenly appeared in the sky through the transparent ceiling, swallowed unconsciously, and was scared and anxious in his heart. After all, he was only a 10-year-old child. Others were also more or less afraid, including Nobi Daichi. It was impossible to say that he was not afraid at all. After all, this was not a movie, but an immersive experience. Of the 7 people in this underground space, the only one who was not afraid was probably Lululu. At this time, Lululu was looking at the dozens of spaceships that suddenly appeared in the sky outside through the transparent ceiling, and her heart was full of curiosity. In the cockpit of the leading spaceship, which was also the largest spaceship, the robot captain of the mechanical utopia was looking at the town below through the transparent cockpit, because their mission to come to Earth was to capture humans as labor. Therefore, it was unwise to attack humans with the weapons that the spaceship brought with it, which would bring huge losses, so they needed to do it themselves. But before that, they needed to do one more thing. Humans on Earth, we are warriors from the great mechanical utopia. We are ordered by our compatriots to make you the labor force of our mechanical utopia. We advise you to surrender. The voices of the robot captains of the mechanical utopia came out from dozens of spaceships and spread in all directions. After a long time, HMPH, if you don't accept my toast, then you have to drink a forfeit. Very good, very good. Seeing that no one from the Earth responded to what he said, the robot captain also became angry. Give the order, all soldiers to attack, and make sure that the Earth humans completely submit to our great mechanical utopia. Yes. With the robot captain's order, countless robot warriors from the mechanical utopia flew out of the spaceships and flew towards the human town below. Nobi Daichi and others who were 10 meters underground on the top of the mountain were still watching more than a dozen robot warriors from the mechanical utopia flying over their heads. Dazzy, should we let the Earth robots attack for easy distinction? Nobita suddenly turned his head and asked Nobi Daichi. No hurry, the improved Echo Mountain we arranged has not yet taken effect. Nobita Daichi smiled, and now that the time has come, he is even more calm. It seems that Nobita Daichi's smile has affected Nobita, Doraemon and others, and the mood of others has also relaxed a little. Over a town, a dozen mechanical robots, for easy identification, were gathering together. Boom. Blue rays shot out from the hands of the dozen mechanical robots, and a building more than 10 meters high suddenly became dilapidated. Just before the dozen mechanical robots had time to laugh at the humans for being cowardly and not daring to fight them, several blue ray attacks that were very similar to the ones they had fired before suddenly reflected from the building. Nearly half of the dozen mechanical robots exploded with a bang, and the remaining mechanical robots were also terrified. They almost became like their companions. But they immediately became excited because they thought that the humans on Earth had declared war on them. Such scenes happened in various places in Tokyo. Time passed unknowingly for nearly an hour, and the robot captain gradually felt that something was wrong. Although the losses they suffered in the past nearly an hour were not large, they were definitely not small, but from beginning to end, no one was seen. Strange, where can the humans on Earth hide? The robot captain stood in the cockpit, looking at the land below with fireworks flying, and said to himself. But no matter how hard the robot captain thought about it, he couldn't figure it out, so he simply stopped thinking about it. However, the robot captain made a decision. If he still didn't see anyone in this place after a while, he would go to other places on Earth to have a look. A tall mountain, 10 meters underground. Nobi Daichi silently estimated the time, and a lot of time passed. It should be about time. Thinking of this, Nobi Daichi took out a green thing that looked like a walkie-talkie. This was made by Nobi Daichi at the robot factory, and it can be used to issue orders to all Earth robots. All Earth robots, attack. In the cockpit, just as the robot captain was about to order the spaceship to withdraw to other places to have a look, suddenly, a black mass of things appeared in the distant sky. Because the distance was too far, the robot captain didn't know what it was for a while. When he got closer, the robot captain was shocked. It turned out to be countless Earth robots. This is nothing. After all, they are also robots, not afraid, but those Earth robots are too big, right? Exclamation mark. One of them could defeat more than a dozen of them, but the robot captain was obviously not an ordinary mechanical robot and soon calmed down. When the robot captain discovered those Earth robots, the other mechanical robots also discovered those Earth robots. Although they were very scared, the robot captain did not order to stop the attack, so they had to bite the bullet. Mechanical robots are obviously more advanced than Earth robots made by robot factories, because the former have a certain degree of intelligence, while the latter are just a group of killing machines that only obey orders. When the Earth robots and mechanical robots want to collide, the result is unquestionable, and the mechanical robots are almost immediately defeated. However, even so, countless mechanical robots still rushed towards the Earth robots. At this time, Nobi Daichi and others were observing the situation outside through the omnidirectional detection TV in the underground space. When they saw that the Earth robots had an almost overwhelming victory over the mechanical robots, everyone was happy. Because if they could win with the help of the Earth robots, they would not have to do it themselves. Nobi Daichi was also very happy, but at the same time he did not forget to be vigilant, and kept staring at the omnidirectional detection TV. The subscription is horribly low, but fortunately I don't care about this. If no one reads it, it's even better, then I can write whatever I want. Doghead. Chapter 165 Overload Operation. Looking at the tragic battle ahead, the robot captain standing in the cockpit had a gloomy face. Just from the naked eye, he could see that his side suffered heavy losses. Taking a deep breath, the robot captain tried to calm himself down. Looking at his own robots that were still rushing towards the Earth robots and suffering losses, the robot captain's hands unconsciously clenched into fists. If he had not taken down the Earth humans after suffering such a huge loss, I'm afraid that the congressman would dismiss him from his position as captain after returning. The robot captain's eyes flickered a few times, and his clenched fists loosened, as if he had made a decision. Jute, gather energy and prepare to attack. Jute was the operator of the leader's spaceship. When he heard what the robot captain said, he was stunned. But Captain, there are still our partners ahead. Jute couldn't help but say. Follow my orders, don't talk so much nonsense. The robot captain said coldly, turning a blind eye to Jute's reminder. Yes. Jute helplessly controlled the spaceship, and a huge blue light gathered at the pointed head of the spaceship. The next moment, a blue light full of destructive aura shot towards the fighting Earth robots and mechanical robots. Boom. 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 A series of huge explosions accompanied by dazzling sparks appeared. Everyone in the underground space did not expect this situation. Nobi Daichi looked at the Earth robots and mechanical robots that kept exploding under the light emitted by the spaceship, and his heart was shocked. The original book did not say that there was such a thing as a spaceship in the mechanical utopia. As expected, the original book is just the original book after all, and there is still a big gap with reality. But think about it, how can the mechanical utopia come to Earth if it is so far away from the Earth without a spaceship? After the first light beam was emitted by the spaceship, the robot captain ordered the spaceship to emit several more beams of light. Since the mechanical robots have high intelligence, they automatically flew away from that troubled place after the first light beam was emitted. Looking at the green controller in his hand, Nobi Daichi hesitated for a moment and said, all Earth robots, change your strategy and attack those spaceships. Under the command of Nobi Daichi, the remaining Earth robots all dispersed and rushed towards the spaceships. Under the attack of the spaceship's rays, countless Earth robots and mechanical robots were destroyed. There were explosions, flames, and large amounts of dust. When the dust cleared, the robot captain found that the Earth robots were actually flying towards their spaceship. Damn it, shouldn't they attack the robot warriors I sent out? Don't they want to live? Why would they attack the spaceship? The robot captain was confused, but his mind was not slow. He would not let the Earth robots attack the spaceship. Even if he spent most of the financial resources, material resources and other materials of the mechanical utopia, he could only build dozens of spaceships. He would be heartbroken if he lost one. Under the command of the robot captain, all the spaceships were raised in altitude. Even if the land-type Earth robots could send out rays to attack, they could not attack the raised spaceships. Therefore, the only ones who could attack the spaceships were the Sky-type, modified, Earth robots. Through the all-round detection TV, Nobi Daichi watched the Sky-type Earth robots flying towards a spaceship. Most of the Sky-type Earth robots were shot down not far from the spaceship. Only a few Sky-type Earth robots came not far from the spaceship, and shells were fired from the arms of the Sky-type Earth robots. They exploded instantly when they hit the spaceship, but for the huge spaceship, it was no different from tickling, and almost no damage was caused to the huge spaceship. Seeing this situation, Nobi Daichi's heart sank. The other side was completely opposite to Nobi Daichi. Seeing the attack effect of the Sky-type Earth robot, the robot captain felt relieved. The attack damage of the Sky-type Earth robot was much lower than he imagined. The robot captain, who was not afraid of the damage to the spaceship, ordered the mechanical robots to attack the Sky-type and land-type Earth robots again. Occasionally, the spaceship would provide assistance and send out a beam of light to attack the land-type robots standing on the ground. Seeing this situation through the all-round detection TV, Nobi Daichi frowned. Nobita, Doraemon, Shizuka, Fat Tiger and Sunia also saw the current situation through the omnidirectional detection TV, and they were very worried. As for Lulu, her brows were furrowed, and it was unknown what she was thinking. Nobi Daichi didn't notice Lulu's strange mood, because he was watching the omnidirectional detection TV. Land-type Earth robots can't fly, which makes it even more difficult to fight against mechanical robots, but land-type robots also have advantages. That is, the attack power is higher than that of Sky-type Earth robots, and it is estimated that the attack power is also higher than that of mechanical robots. In this war between the mechanical utopia and the Earth robots had the upper hand at the beginning, but after the spaceships of the mechanical utopia also joined the war, the Earth robots were retreating step by step. Picking up the intercom-shaped transmitter again, Nobi Daichi was silent for a moment. Make every effort to run the robot factory and produce Earth robots. There are not many requirements, just one requirement, it must be fast. Produce as much as possible without damaging the robot factory. Nobi Daichi remotely ordered the robot factory through the transmitter. The intercom that Nobi Daichi had the robot factory design not only controls all Earth robots, but also remotely controls the robot factory. After Nobi Daichi gave the order, a line of blood red characters automatically appeared on the computer hidden underground that controls the entire robot factory. Warning. Warning. Are you sure you want to start the strongest production program? The same words disappeared back and forth on the computer, and after appearing 3 times, a new line of characters appeared. No one agreed. The system automatically defaults to yes. Then another line of blood red characters appeared. Produce Earth robots at all costs. If Nobi Daichi was here, he would definitely say to it, "Are you sick? Is this my order?" Unfortunately, Nobi Daichi was not here, so he didn't know the situation here, but even if he was here, he probably couldn't stop anything. After the blood red characters on the computer disappeared, the robot factory began to operate at overload. The speed of producing Earth robots was more than 5 times faster than before. At this production efficiency, a robot could be seen in the blink of an eye. Less than a minute later, the robot factory was almost filled with Earth robots produced by the robot factory. Then the robot factory opened a specific channel to let the produced Earth robots fly out and head to the battlefield. I originally wanted to write 1 chapter every day for the rest of this month, but I had to wait for the recommendation. Sigh. Chapter 166 Energy Exhaustion. Before the war, the number of Earth robots produced by the robot factory was close to 200,000. In addition, most of the Earth robots were magnified by the magnifying lights, so although there were only 200,000, their comprehensive combat power was far beyond the number of 200,000. Although Nobi Daichi didn't know how many robots the mechanical utopia had sent this time, and the specific number of the Iron Man Corps, he could probably guess some general information through the all-round detection TV and the continuous retreat of the Earth robots. In the nearly 1 hour of fighting with the Iron Man Corps of the mechanical utopia, only a few tens of thousands of Earth robots were left in the first batch of nearly 200,000. In this more than 1 hour, the robot factory was still producing Earth robots at ordinary production efficiency, but because they were not magnified by the magnifying lights, the impact on this war was really not significant. The most important thing was that the spaceships of the mechanical utopia were too much of a hindrance. If there were no spaceships to assist the mechanical robots, it would not be said that Nobi Daichi's side would definitely win, but at least it would be a 50-50 split. But now, looking at the battle situation below, the robot captain showed a satisfied smile on his face. Although it was a smile, it was almost like a ghost crying in the eyes of humans. It's almost done. It looks like this mission can be successfully completed. The mechanical utopia had previously investigated the technological level of the Earth and knew that the most powerful weapons on Earth were nuclear weapons and intercontinental missiles. However, they had specific instruments that could prevent them from launching, that is, making them ineffective. Although they didn't know where these Earth robots came from, it was normal for the mechanical utopia to have some secret weapons. That's right, the robot captain regarded the Earth robots made by the robot factory as the secret weapons of the Earth humans. But what's the use? In the end, they still have to surrender to our great mechanical utopia. The robot captain couldn't help getting excited when he thought that he was about to lead the mechanical robots to complete an achievement that would be recorded in the history of the mechanical utopia. Captain. Just as the robot captain was dreaming a beautiful dream that would be recorded in the annals of history, ZHUT's urgent shouting woke the robot captain up from his beautiful fantasy. Having his beautiful fantasy interrupted by ZHUT, the robot captain knew that his behavior just now was a bit dereliction of duty, so he suppressed his anger and said, "What's the matter?" ZHUT did not speak, but turned on a screen on the cockpit panel, which showed the battle situation below. Through the screen, the robot captain saw a horrible picture. The entire screen was almost filled with Earth robots. The robot captain was shocked at first, but he was relieved when he saw the Earth robot that was different from the tall buildings before. "You are so easily anxious. How did you get this position?" After just glancing at the picture on the screen, the robot captain stopped paying attention and turned around to scold ZHUT. ZHUT, what? ZHUT said that he was innocent. He called the robot captain several times, and when he saw that the robot captain did not respond, he thought that something happened to him and became anxious. I thought that the robot captain would praise him, even if he was not good, but he was scolded. ZHUT's heart suddenly became unbalanced. The robot captain scolded ZHUT a few times, and then said nothing, but turned his attention to the screen. 10 meters underground, through the all-round detection TV, Nobi Daichi, Lulu, Nobita, Doraemon, Shizuka, Fat Tiger and Sunia also saw the overwhelming Earth robots. Is the production efficiency of this robot factory so terrifying? Looking at the tens of thousands of Earth robots that suddenly appeared, Nobi Daichi always felt that something was wrong, but he didn't say what was wrong. It was only a few minutes since he conveyed the order, and the robot factory had already produced so many Earth robots. Feeling uneasy, Nobi Daichi picked up the intercom and wanted to ask the robot factory about this, but there was no person in the robot factory to answer. How could he know that the robot factory automatically blocked all external interference information after starting the strongest production program, which was why the computer had 3 warning loops at the beginning. This strongest production program is either not started, or once started, it cannot be terminated. As for the consequences of starting this program for the robot factory, Nobi Daichi's bad premonition became stronger and stronger. So, under the surprised eyes of Nobita, Doraemon and others, Nobi Daichi wanted to transfer the picture of the omnidirectional detection TV to the inside of the robot factory, but the result was naturally failed. How could the robot factory let the outside instruments detect how it works? This was set by Nobi Daichi himself at the beginning, but he was anxious now and didn't think of this. Nobi Daichi had no choice but to transfer the picture on the omnidirectional detection TV back to the battle scene outside. After adding tens of thousands of fillers, the Earth robot side was still at a disadvantage, but it was not defeated at the first touch. Observing the battle situation outside through the omnidirectional detection TV, Nobi Daichi's eyes became brighter and brighter. Report, Captain. Speak. We don't have much energy. ZHUT reported to the robot captain in the cockpit. What? Although the robot captain was shocked, he said calmly, how many times can the electromagnetic gun be fired? Looking at the robot captain like this, ZHUT couldn't help but sigh that the captain was worthy of being the captain, and he could still be calm in this situation. However, ZHUT didn't know that this was the most basic quality of a commander. If we take into account the energy consumption for the return trip, we can fire 5 more times. If not, it can only happen once. 5 times? That's enough. Fire them all. After conquering the Earth, the resources of the entire Earth will belong to us. Why should we be afraid of running out of energy? Yes. In the following time, under the control of Zoot, the spaceship where the robot captain was located fired 5 more electromagnetic cannons. As for the dozens of other spaceships, they also fired 1 or 2 electromagnetic cannons after receiving the command from the robot captain, leaving only a little energy to maintain the flight of the spaceship. Since then, relatively speaking, the entire battlefield has been much quieter. Although there are still some small explosions from time to time, there are no big explosions from time to time. Warriors, follow me and complete the feat of conquering the Earth. After all the spaceships have fired their electromagnetic cannons, the robot captain raised the iron sword made of unknown metal in his hand, and ordered all the mechanical robots still on the spaceships. Chapter 167 Lilulu, recover your memory. After watching the spaceships no longer firing electromagnetic cannons through the omnidirectional detection TV, more and more mechanical robots came down from the spaceships. Nobi Daichi thought to himself, as expected, it was almost what he thought. At the beginning, the frequency of the mechanical ideal country firing electromagnetic cannons was relatively high, but later it gradually became lower. Nobi Daichi thought about it, and thought about the energy source. Looking at the current situation, it was almost certain. Nobi Daichi still couldn't stop worrying when watching the mechanical robots coming down from nearly 40 spaceships through the omnidirectional detection TV. After leaving the cockpit and walking out of the spaceship, the robot captain did not rush to fight immediately, but watched the current battle situation at the door of the spaceship. This time, the robot captain brought nearly 4 million mechanical robots. At first, the robot captain, who didn't know the situation, directly sent out 1.5 million with a wave of his hand. After more than an hour before and nearly 2 hours of fighting now, more than half of the 1.5 million mechanical robots have been lost. As for Nobi Daichi's side, there are only tens of thousands of Earth robots left, after being magnified by the magnifying light, and there may be tens of thousands of Earth robots urgently manufactured by the robot factory. However, compared to the millions of mechanical robots, Nobi Daichi's side is almost at an absolute disadvantage. The final battle between millions of mechanical robots and less than 50,000 Earth robots has begun again. Although each of the enlarged Earth robots is enough to fight 100 or even hundreds of them, the number of mechanical robots is too large. Even the weapons are more advanced. Even if this does not mean that the attack of mechanical robots is higher than that of land-based Earth robots, it will narrow the gap. This is what Nobi Daichi saw through the omnidirectional detection TV. Even if each enlarged Earth robot is nearly 30 meters high, a casual shot can almost destroy several mechanical robots, but it still cannot stop Nobi Daichi's disadvantage. After seeing their companions die, those mechanical robots not only did not retreat in fear, but fought even harder. Looking at this scene, Nobi Daichi felt incredible, and at the same time he couldn't help but sigh in his heart. He regretted that the godlike man made a mistake when studying the ancestors of the mechanical utopia. That is, he regarded competition as the direction of the evolution of mechanical robots. Needless to say, the war between mechanical robots and Earth robots has always been dominated by mechanical robots. Even if tens of thousands of Earth robots join the battle every few minutes, they still cannot stop the trend of Earth robots' retreat. More than half an hour later, a huge explosion resounded throughout the world. Nobi Daichi, Nobita and Doraemon in the underground space naturally could not hear the huge explosion, but they could feel the trembling of the Earth. Everyone was puzzled. Only Nobi Daichi's face changed, and he turned the picture of the omnidirectional detection TV to the location of the robot factory. A large pit of hundreds of meters appeared in everyone's eyes. Looking at the surrounding scene, it was indeed the location of the original robot factory. So what happened? Nobi Daichi didn't need to say it, and others also understood the reason for the trembling of the earth just now. At this time, there were only 300,000 Earth robots left. Originally, there were 500,000, but while the robot factory was constantly manufacturing Earth robots, the Earth robots on the battlefield were also constantly consumed. After more than half an hour of overload operation, the robot factory produced more than 400,000 Earth robots and ended its mission with a loud bang and the trembling of the Earth. The robot captain was different. He looked very unhappy when he saw the hundreds of thousands of Earth robots increase in just over half an hour. ZHU tested beside the robot captain honestly, saying nothing and not daring to make any small movements, for fear of offending the robot captain. After more than half an hour of fighting, although the Earth robots suffered a lot of losses, the mechanical utopia suffered a greater loss. Just seeing that the number of Earth robots finally stopped increasing, the robot captain was also greatly relieved. It seems that this is the full strength of the Earth people. The robot captain thought so in his heart, and said at the same time, "Warriors, the Earth people are no longer able to do it. Please give it a try." Through a special information transmission method, the robot captain's order was transmitted to every living mechanical robot. Nobi Daichi looked at the big pit that appeared on the omnidirectional detection TV with a complicated look. "What is this?" Ziofu couldn't help asking, but no one present answered him, because no one knew what was going on. Even Nobi Daichi didn't understand. He only knew that the robot factory had exploded and disappeared, but he didn't know the specific reason. Daichi. Just as everyone was focusing on the robot factory, a clear and pleasant voice rang out in this small underground space. Although the voice was clear and pleasant, no one would want to hear it if possible. Nobi Daichi looked up and found that Lululu had stood up and looked at him expressionlessly. Nobi Daichi was about to get up and ask Lululu what happened, but he was startled by Lululu's words. Not only he was scared, but also Nobita, Doraemon and others. "I recovered my memory." Lululu herself didn't know what was going on. Her empty head was suddenly filled with all kinds of strange information. After a careful check, she found that it was all the information she had lost. Then, Nobi Daichi was caught off guard by this sudden incident. He didn't recover his memory earlier or later, but he recovered his memory at this critical moment. However, even though Nobi Daichi was caught off guard by Lululu's recovery of memory, Nobi Daichi knew what the most important thing was now. A golden light flashed, and Nobi Daichi transformed into Emperor Knight. The most important thing now was of course to protect himself, Nobita, Doraemon and others. Lululu did not stop Nobi Daichi from transforming, although she couldn't stop him even if she tried. Nobi Daichi, who had transformed into Emperor Knight, stood in front of everyone and faced Lululu. Nobita and Doraemon didn't know what to do about it, and just stood there in a daze. Fat Tiger and Sunia shrank into the corner. Although Nobi Daichi protected them, they were still very scared. Attacked by this sudden incident, they actually forgot that they could still transform into Kamen Rider. Although Shizuka was a little scared, after a short time with Lululu, she could feel Lululu's kindness. Therefore, she didn't want Lululu and Nobi Daichi to really fight, but she didn't know how to stop Lululu and Nobi Daichi, so she could only worry on the side. Chapter 168 Meeting God. Outside, the mechanical robots and the Earth robots were fighting fiercely, while in the underground space, Lululu and the others were confronting each other. "What do you want to do?" After a moment of silence, Nobi Daichi took the lead in asking, because time could not be wasted at this moment. "I don't know either." Lululu, who had been expressionless, suddenly squatted down with her hands holding her head in pain. The huge difference between the memory of being with Nobi Daichi and others before, and the memory that suddenly appeared just now made her fall into self-doubt for a moment, and was at a loss. Seeing Lululu like this, Nobi Daichi felt bad, but he still did not dare to let his guard down. "If you really feel bad about this, do you remember the method I told you before?" Nobi Daichi said slowly. Hearing Nobi Daichi's words, Lilulu's hands holding her head loosened, and she recalled what Nobi Daichi had said to her before. Do you want to see the god who created you? I know you are standing between the mechanical ideal country and the Earth's human beings, and you don't know who to help, so why don't you ask that god? Nobi Daichi reminded Lilulu, who was lost in her memories. As for Nobita, Doraemon, Shizuka, Fat Tiger, Sunia and others, they all looked confused. Why are Nobi Daichi and Lilulu talking so mysterious? What gods or not? But the gods died 30,000 years ago. Lilulu stood up and said in a panic. Looking at Lilulu like this, Nobi Daichi secretly breathed a sigh of relief. It seems that things have not reached the point of no return. It doesn't matter. This problem is left to us. Let's go now. Through the all-round detection TV, Nobi Daichi knew that something was irreversible. The Earth side was doomed to fail. Nobi Daichi smiled bitterly in his heart. He didn't expect that after so much effort, he still couldn't change the original ending. Even if the robot factory really produced tens of millions of troops, the enemies sent by the mechanical utopia this time were eliminated by them, but the source could not be eliminated. How many robots are there in the mechanical utopia? Can he still eliminate the robots of a planet? Even if he can he do it? This is what Nobi Daichi doesn't know. So if he wants to change all this, if he wants to end all this, he can only change the original source. Daichi Nobi actually understood this matter from the beginning, but like many people, he always wanted to struggle. In addition, because of Lilulu, he never wanted to face this fact, but now the development of things forced him to face it. Maybe this is the best ending? Such a thought suddenly popped up in Daichi Nobi's mind. Although he didn't know what Daichi Nobi and Lilulu were talking about, Doraemon understood the last sentence Daichi Nobi said, that they were going to leave the mirror world temporarily. They must come back, because they can't keep the mechanical robots trapped in the mirror world. If the people of the mechanical utopia find that the Iron Man Corps that have been sent out for so long have not returned, they will definitely send more troops. After all, everyone doesn't know that there are only so many spaceships in the mechanical utopia. But just when Doraemon was about to take out the upgraded indoor fishing pond from the 4-dimensional pocket, the underground space suddenly trembled. It turned out that the shells of a mechanical robot were shot off the right direction and hit the hillside where Daichi Nobi and others were. Oh no, the underground space is going to collapse. Let's get out. Doraemon said as he opened the exit of the underground space, and a 20-step staircase appeared in front of everyone. When everyone came out, the underground space also collapsed silently, which scared everyone out of their wits. However, before Nobi Daichi and others could catch their breath, many mechanical robots discovered them. A mechanical robot that was close rushed to Nobi Daichi, and with a bang, the mechanical robot was directly blown up by Nobi Daichi. Although Nobi Daichi was also shocked by his strength at this time, he didn't have time to think so much. Now all they had to do was to quickly escape from the encirclement of the mechanical robots. The robot captain looked at the picture transmitted by a certain mechanical robot and sneered. I was wondering why I didn't see Lilulu all the time. It turned out that she had betrayed me. Very good, very good. Pass my order and capture them all for me. All the mechanical robots received the order from the robot captain at the same time, but some mechanical robots were blocked by the Earth robots and could not capture Nobi Daichi, Lilulu and others. Bang, 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 bang. Air cannons were fired one after another from Nobita, Doraemon, Shizuka, Fat Tiger and Sunia. One by one, the mechanical robots were destroyed and fell from the sky with the air cannons. Lilulu did not attack, but just stood among the crowd, staring blankly. Suddenly, he seemed to see a familiar figure. Guardian Zoot. Lilulu shouted Zoot's name. Hearing Lilulu shout, Zoot, who was hiding behind a mechanical robot, came out and sighed at Lilulu. Lilulu, I didn't expect that you would betray the great mechanical utopia and join humans. I didn't betray the mechanical utopia. I just. Lilulu was speechless for a moment. Why do we have to use the Earthlings as labor? Can't we use our own hands to make enough food and clothing? Lilulu, who was speechless, suddenly shouted at Zoot. Survival of the fittest. The universe has always been the law of the dark jungle. If others don't destroy, then you will destroy yourself. ZHUTA said earnestly. The important rule of competition was passed down by God, and ZHUTA specifically used this word to reply to Lilulu. Lilulu knew how fanatical the worship of God was in the mechanical ideal country, and now she didn't know what to say at all. Looking at the mechanical robots that kept besieging them, Lilulu suddenly fired an electromagnetic cannon from her hand, and a mechanical robot exploded. Haha, Lilulu, you still said you didn't betray. ZHUTE's face was extremely cold at this time, which was completely different from the smiling face when he was trying to please the robot captain. Lilulu ignored ZHUTE. She firmly believed that God would never mean this at the beginning. She wanted to ask God in person, and to see God, she must leave here safely first. Nobi Daichi punched another mechanical robot, and seeing more and more mechanical robots around, he knew that this was not a solution. While paying attention to the situation around him, he took out the magic stick from the system space. He raised the divine light stick high. Tigger. There was a sound like a silver bottle breaking and water splashing. A huge ball of light emerged from Nobi Daichi's body, illuminating all the people around him, and making them close their eyes or cover their eyes with their hands. Chapter 169. 30,000 years ago. The moment Nobi Daichi transformed, he grabbed Lilulu, Nobita, Doraemon and others with his right hand, and then stretched out his left hand and flew away. When Zoot put down his hand covering his eyes, Nobi Daichi and his group had disappeared. Looking at Nobi Daichi and others in the sky, Zoot ordered the mechanical robots around him. Chase. Yes. The mechanical robots around him said respectfully to Zoot. Although Zoot was just a guard of the robot captain, they were not someone they could afford to offend. Then the mechanical robots around Zoot chased after Nobi Daichi and his group who had already flown far away. After knowing this situation, the robot captain also ordered all robots to chase. Catching Nobi Daichi and his group can be said to be the most important thing now. Although they are all just children, it is estimated that they can also find out a lot of information about where the humans on Earth are hiding from them. The robot captain looked at the direction where Nobi Daichi and others fled, with a strange light flashing in his eyes. When Lilulu, Nobita, Doraemon, Shizuka, Fat Tiger and Sunia reacted, they found themselves in a dark and narrow space. You are in my hands, don't worry. Feeling the strangeness in his hands, Nobi Daichi sent a voice to comfort Lilulu, Nobita, Doraemon and others. When Nobi Daichi flew away, many mechanical robots around him chased and attacked him. Nobi Daichi stretched out his left hand to the crystal above his head and slashed it downwards, and the color of Tigger's whole body turned into a purple-based color. In simple terms, the form changed from composite type to sky type. Because there were only 3 minutes to transform into Ultraman Tigger, Nobi Daichi did not dare to waste a minute or a second, and his speed suddenly increased, and he quickly got rid of the pursuit of the mechanical robots behind him. Suddenly, a layer of dazzling light enveloped Nobi Daichi's body. From a distance, you can only see Nobi Daichi wrapped in a ball of light. Then the light suddenly landed in a dense forest below. A ray of light suddenly appeared under several towering trees. When the light disappeared, Nobi Daichi and others appeared here. Nobita, Doraemon, Shizuka, Sunia and Fat Tiger all looked like they had escaped death. Let's go back to the real world quickly. This world is too dangerous, Nobita said with a sad face. Wait a minute, Nobita Daichi said to everyone, and took out the intercom from his trouser pocket. All Earth robots must not let mechanical robots approach the entrance lake of the mirror world. After saying this, Nobita Daichi put the intercom back into his trouser pocket. Let's go. Then Doraemon took out the upgraded indoor fishing pond from his 4-dimensional pocket. Report. Those children escaped. A mechanical robot stood in front of the robot captain and reported. The robot captain walked to the reporting mechanical robot with no joy or sadness, and then punched the uneasy mechanical robot standing in front of him and flew away. The eyes of the mechanical robot that was knocked away were full of disbelief, and then the eyes dimmed. Some people will deal with the Earth robots, and some people will go find those children. Yes. The confidants around the robot captain said respectfully. I don't know if it's their illusion. They always feel that the current captain seems to be getting more and more wrong. Real world. Nobi's house. 2nd floor room. Nobi Daichi, Lululu, Nobita, Shizuka, Sunia and Fat Tiger are all standing next to the desk. The time machine can't accommodate so many people. There must be a few of us who don't want to go. Who of you doesn't want to go? Everyone was silent for a few seconds, and at this time Sunia suddenly raised his hand weakly. I won't go. I won't go either. It's not that I'm timid, but I should be able to replace the two of you, and it takes up space. Fat Tiger smiled rarely. Then let's go. Nobi Daichi said anxiously to the others who were going after seeing that the situation was almost the same. After all, he didn't know how long the Earth robot could last, and if the entrance to the mirror world, the big lake, was discovered by the mechanical utopia, it would be bad. Then Nobi Daichi took the lead and got into the drawer and sat on the time machine. Lululu hesitated for 2 seconds and followed in, followed by Nobita, Shizuka and Doraemon. Bang! After Nobi Daichi and his group of 5 sat on the time machine, the drawer closed automatically. Fat Tiger, should we wait here or go home? Sunia asked Fat Tiger. What do you think? Fat Tiger looked at Sunia with wide eyes, then sat on the tatami and waited. Please enter the time and place you want to go. The artificial intelligence on the time machine asked mechanically. Go to the mechanical utopia 30,000 years ago. Nobi Daichi said to the artificial intelligence on the time machine, then held a joystick and pulled it down, and the time machine immediately traveled at superluminal speed. The moods of the people sitting on the time machine were different at this time, but there was also a common point, that is, curiosity about the mechanical utopia 30,000 years ago. The first space jump starts. The voice of the artificial intelligence machine on the time machine suddenly sounded, and then everyone found that the time tunnel around them seemed to be still. When the time tunnel moved, the environment around them suddenly turned into a starry sky. The next moment it returned to the time tunnel. After experiencing such a space jump again in the following time, a ball of white light appeared in front of Nobi Daichi and others. After the time machine passed through the ball of light, Nobi Daichi and his party had appeared on a hillside covered with green grass. This is the mechanical utopia 30,000 years ago. No, Nekatibia. Stepping on the green grass, looking at the deserted place in the distance, Lululu said slowly. Doraemon took out a few bamboo dragonflies from the 4-dimensional pocket and distributed them to everyone. Let's go to that place. Nobi Daichi pointed to a place and said to others. The place that Nobi Daichi pointed to had a factory that looked like 4 small and 1 large black chimneys. The chimney in the middle is the largest, and there are 2 small chimneys next to the largest one. Without thinking too much, Nobi Daichi can guess that the place should be where the doctor who created the ancestor of the mechanical ideal country is. After seeing that place, the others also felt that the possibility of the doctor being there was relatively high, so they followed Nobi Daichi to fly there. Soon everyone flew to the gate of the chimney factory, where the doctor was. When Nobi Daichi and others stood in front of and behind the gate opened automatically. Although Nobi Daichi was confused, he walked in without hesitation. After all, time was running out, and he couldn't afford to waste it. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 170. The doctor passes away. After Nobi Daichi entered the chimney factory, he saw all kinds of incomprehensible high-tech equipment. What attracted his attention the most were the 2 robots sealed in glass cabins. There was also an old man with white hair, who looked like Santa Claus in Europe and the United States, sitting next to the glass cabin that sealed the 2 robots. When Nobi Daichi and his group entered the chimney factory, the old man who was resting with his eyes closed suddenly opened his eyes. Looking at the group of children in front of him, he couldn't help but ask in confusion. Who are you? No one spoke, and Nobi Daichi didn't speak either, because he was weaving words in his mind. Nobita, Doraemon, and Shizuka all stood quietly behind Nobi Daichi, without saying a word. The next second, everyone in the chimney factory looked at Lululu. Lululu left Nobi Daichi and walked to the 2 robots, Yam and Sham, that the doctor had already built, with curiosity in her eyes. The images of Yam and Sham have been circulating in the mechanical ideal country for 30,000 years, so Lulu recognized them directly after seeing the two robots sealed in the glass cabin. Is this my ancestor? Then Lulu said to herself, and then looked at the white-haired doctor sitting next to the glass cabin. Then he should be the god who created the ancestor. In this short period of less than half a minute, Nobi Daichi also wove the words, and then walked to the side of the doctor and told the doctor the purpose of their visit this time. I'm so sorry, I really didn't expect that the descendants of Yam and Sham would do such a thing. After all, the Yam and Sham I created are good children. The doctor apologized after listening to Nobi Daichi's words. During this process, Lulu has been standing next to Nobi Daichi and the doctor, listening to their narration quietly without interrupting. Then doctor, do you think I should help the mechanical ideal country or the human beings on Earth? When the doctor and Nobi Daichi had finished talking, Lulu finally couldn't help asking the question in her heart. The doctor looked at Lulu with eyes full of wisdom and intelligence, and then stared at Lulu's eyes for a long time before speaking. Child, your heart has told you what to do, hasn't it? Lulu stammered, not knowing what to say. Her originally excited expression suddenly became flustered after hearing what the doctor said. The doctor sighed, said nothing more, stood up from the chair, and walked towards the invention a few meters away with a cane. Soon the doctor walked to the side of the invention, and then sat on the chair of the invention. The chair automatically rose 4 or 5 meters, and lifted the doctor to the side of a computer. Then the doctor put his hands on the various operating keyboards in front of the computer, and began to type. While typing on the keyboard, he said to Nobi Daichi and his group, I will change the evolution direction of Yam and Zam, that is, to plant a compassionate heart for the sake of mankind. What will happen if I do this? Shizuka suddenly asked the doctor loudly, and the doctor also replied loudly. History will change. The Iron Man core will not attack the Earth. After all, when I change the evolution direction of Yam and Sham, the Iron Man core will no longer appear in history. Hearing this, Shizuka was shocked, and then looked at Lulu. Lulu then knew. Lulu had understood what she should do, after being enlightened by the doctor's previous words. Although she already knew her fate at this time, she still held back her sadness, and walked to Shizuka's side, holding Shizuka's little hand, and forcing a smile. It's okay, Shizuka, isn't this a good ending? Nobi Daichi, Nobita and Doraemon watched this scene. Their eyes were wet, and they all felt bad. Shizuka, whose hand was held by Lulu, felt it particularly deeply, and her eyes couldn't help but wet. Finally, she couldn't help but throw herself into Lulu's arms and cried. The doctor sitting on the chair naturally knew what was happening next to him, but he didn't have much time left. After sighing in his heart, he started typing on the keyboard again. I hope I can hold on to the end, the doctor said to himself, but he didn't hold on to the end. Plop. The sad crowd suddenly heard the sound of a heavy object falling to the ground, and they cast their eyes over. Doctor. Shizuka broke free from Lulu's arms, ran to the doctor who fell to the ground, and tried to help him up, but was stopped by the doctor. Don't bother, I can't hold on any longer. Although the doctor knew that he couldn't hold on any longer, he still smiled at everyone. Doraemon, do you have any props to save the doctor? Nobita ran to Doraemon and asked anxiously. No, the doctor is about to die, and the props for treating injuries are useless. If you want to save the doctor, you must give him medicine to prolong his life. And I don't have medicine to prolong his life now, unless I go to the future department store to buy it, but it is obvious that the doctor can't wait until then. Doraemon shook his head after hearing what Nobita said. It's okay, doctor, let me do the next thing. Lulu said to the doctor, then turned around and looked at Nobi Daichi motionlessly, with regret in his eyes. Lulu. Nobi Daichi stretched out his hand and wanted to stop Lulu, but finally put his hand down without saying what was in his mind. Looking at Nobi Daichi's outstretched hand, Lulu smiled. She already understood what Nobi Daichi meant. Then she flew to the chair and started typing on the keyboard. The doctor, who was barely supported by Shizuka, smiled after hearing what Nobita and Doraemon said. Although he was shocked when Nobita and Doraemon said that they could come up with a medicine to prolong his life, he would not take it, even if they gave him a medicine that could prolong his life. Because after creating Yam and Sham in his life, it can be said that his mission has been completed, not to mention that now with the help of these children, he has corrected a fatal mistake. He has no regrets, and living on is just a torture for himself. The doctor looked at Yam and Summer lying in the glass cabin, and stretched out their hands, as if trying to grab something. In the end, the doctor slowly closed his eyes, and put down his raised hands. Doctor. Doctor. After hearing Shizuka's cry, Nobi Daichi, Nobita and Doraemon all turned their eyes from Lulu to the doctor, who passed away peacefully. Doctor. Although Nobi Daichi knew that the doctor's death was inevitable, he still couldn't help but feel sad. This is a great person, whether in terms of wisdom or personality. Chapter 171 end. However, Nobi Daichi's sight of the doctor was just that, and then he looked at Lulu on the high seat. Lulu looked at the code that the doctor had typed before, and the next code that needed to be typed automatically emerged in her mind. Then Lulu's fingers began to type without stopping for a moment. I was created in this life because of war, and I'm a demon. I hope that I will be created in my next life to make happiness spread all over the world, and I will be an angel. Thinking of this, Lulu unconsciously showed a smile at the corner of her mouth. Tap. The last code was typed by Lulu. As Lulu finished typing the last code, the history of a civilization changed. Mirror world. The robot captain stood beside the entrance lake, furious. He had discovered that they had been deceived by the despicable race of humans. After a not too short war, almost all of the Earth robots were wiped out, leaving only a few insignificant shrimps. After destroying most of the Earth robots, the robot captain also found some clues, and then discovered this seemingly ordinary lake. Report. A mechanical robot flew out of the huge lake, and landed next to the robot captain. Speak. Captain, after flying out of this lake, it is indeed a world similar to this world, but the difference from this world is that there are humans everywhere in that world. Go down. Yes. The robot captain clenched his fists and ordered all the mechanical robots. Everyone listen up. As the greatest warriors of the mechanical utopia, we are actually being played around by humans. This is our shame. So in order to maintain our honor, after going to the real world, I allow you to slaughter people wantonly. All the mechanical robots in the mechanical utopia responded excitedly yes after hearing the robot captain's order. Some mechanical robots were so angry that they had already picked up their weapons because their relatives were killed by the Earth robots. However, when the robot captain was about to lead the way through the lake to the real world, the bodies of all the mechanical robots suddenly flashed and became transparent. What's wrong with me? As soon as the robot captain had this last thought in his mind, he disappeared in this world. Not only the robot captain, but all other mechanical robots were like this. Lulu floated down from the high seat. Yes, she floated down. At this time, Lulu's body had become transparent. Lulu. Nobi Daichi's eyes were moist, and he wanted to reach out and touch Lulu, but he passed through Lulu's body directly. Lulu didn't care, just smiled at Nobi Daichi. In an unknown time, in an unknown year, a figure in a white robe passed through endless time and space to watch this scene. The white and tender right hand stretched forward, and a small ball of white light floated out from Lulu's head and fell on his right hand. The white robe figure muttered to himself, I will accept this memory for the time being. Ding, you can punch in today. Do you want to punch in? Hearing the prompt sound of the system, Nobi Daichi was stunned, and then he was ecstatic. How could he forget that there was such a thing as a system? Faced with this situation, maybe the system will have a way. System, can you save Lulu? Ding, you can punch in today. Do you want to punch in? The system ignored Nobi Daichi and repeated today's punch in again. Okay. Nobi Daichi had no other choice but to try his luck. Maybe the system punch in can punch out something that can save Lulu. Punch in. Punch in successfully. Get the end causality card. End causality card. One-time item. Use this card to cut off the causal relationship between someone, something, and another person, something. After the causal relationship is cut off, the cut causal relationship will be connected to the user. Warning. Please use with caution. Take it out. Nobi Daichi automatically ignored the system's warning and took out the end causality card directly from the system space. The end causality card is a colorful card with a size similar to a playing card. But at this time, Nobi Daichi didn't care what the end causality card looked like, because Lululu's figure was transparent and almost disappeared. Nobi Daichi said the moment he took out the end causality card, "Use. Please select the target." A subtitle that only Nobi Daichi could see appeared in front of Nobi Daichi. Lululu, Nobi Daichi. Selected successfully. Then the end causation card in Nobi Daichi's hand turned into a ball of colorful light, split into two halves, and flew to Lululu and Nobi Daichi, who were about to disperse. Whether it was the end causation card, the font floating in front of Nobi Daichi, or the end causation card turning into a ball of colorful light, from beginning to end, only Nobi Daichi could see it. Lululu seemed to have sensed something in the dark, and her smile became even brighter when half of the colorful light ball just flew into Lululu's body and merged with her. Lululu's figure disappeared in front of everyone. Lululu, why, disappeared again? It shouldn't be. Watching Lululu disappear on the spot, Nobi Daichi staggered back a few steps, full of disbelief, muttering to himself, unable to figure out what was going on. "Daichi, are you okay?" Nobita walked to the side of Nobi Daichi, supported the distraught Nobi Daichi and said worriedly, "It's okay, it's okay." Nobita smiled bitterly. He had done so much, but who knew that Lululu would still disappear? "Let's go home." Nobita looked at Nobi Daichi with worry. "No, let's bury the doctor first." Nobita looked at the doctor lying on the ground and said to everyone. Nobita laughed awkwardly twice. He actually forgot about this. Doraemon and Shizuka naturally had no objections. Then, with the help of a series of props from Doraemon, everyone completed this task. Standing on the hillside, looking at the chimney factory in the distance, Nobita Daichi was in a trance, as if he was dreaming. "Daichi, let's go." "Okay." Nobita Daichi responded, stared at the distance again for a few seconds, then turned around and jumped onto the time machine. Then the time machine carried Nobita Daichi, Nobita, Doraemon, and Shizuka and disappeared on the spot. In the time tunnel, the people on the time machine were silent, all with heavy expressions on their faces. "Everyone, don't be like this. After all, haven't we completed our mission here this time?" Nobi Daichi felt the atmosphere around him and knew that this wouldn't work, so he suppressed the pain in his heart and said to the others, "Yes, the mission is indeed completed." Nobita, Doraemon, and Shizuka knew that the one who was most sad about Lululu's disappearance was probably Nobi Daichi. At this time, hearing Nobi Daichi's words of persuasion, they all responded and tried not to be sad anymore. Not many people read it, so I'm thinking whether I should travel to other worlds in the future. After all, it was a work of interest in the beginning. A dozen big movies should be enough to make me fully present. If that is not enough, I will add a few self-created worlds. Now what supports me to continue writing is interest and full attendance. Oh, and there are a dozen or 20 readers. I write about other worlds just to attract more readers. It seems that it has failed so far. The only world I'm interested in is the Doraemon world. Other worlds such as the Legend of Sword and Fairy, the Legend of Condor Heroes, Baolian, Super God, Dragon Ball, etc. If I want to write about them, I have to learn about them specifically, and I may not be able to write them well. After all, from what you have seen so far, you should be able to guess that the author has no outline. Chapter 172, A New Beginning. Why haven't Nobita and the others come back yet? Did something unexpected happen? Sunia sat next to Fat Tiger and said anxiously, "What are you talking about?" Fat Tiger glared at Sunia in anger. Bang! Hearing this sound, Fat Tiger and Sunia turned their heads to look at the desk. It turned out that the sound just now was the sound of a drawer opening. Doraemon, Nobi Daichi, Nobita and Shizuka came out of the opened drawers one by one, but Lululu was missing. "Everyone, why is Lululu gone?" Fat Tiger asked everyone in confusion. This, Nobita, Doraemon, and Shizuka looked at each other and finally looked at Nobi Daichi. "Lululu, she's gone, and she won't come back in the future." Nobi Daichi said to Fat Tiger without any worries or joy. Is that so? Sunia and Fat Tiger both showed a look of realization and did not notice the strange emotions behind Nobi Daichi's words. The invasion of the Earth by the Iron Man core of the mechanical utopia has been completely resolved. I know everyone is very tired, so I will send everyone back to rest first. Doraemon said as he took out the anywhere door from his 4-dimensional pocket. If Doraemon hadn't said this, Shizuka, Fat Tiger and Sunia would not have felt tired. As soon as Doraemon said this, Shizuka, Fat Tiger and Sunia's tense nerves all relaxed at once, and then they were tired. Therefore, Shizuka, Fat Tiger and Sunia did not refuse Doraemon's kindness, and Doraemon used the anywhere door to send them back home respectively. Ah, it's finally over, Nobita said weakly while lying on the tatami. It's over. Opening the window and looking at the cloudless sky, Nobi Daichi murmured. This is an uninhabited planet where countless robots who love each other and live happily live. These robots form an extremely large country, and the entire planet is full of their figures. This is a new Nekotibia 30,000 years later, which changed history. Outside a laboratory at the highest scientific experimental base of New Nekotibia, a large number of national leaders stood. Behind these national leaders, there were cameras one after another, transmitting the situation here to the people of the country through satellites. After 30,000 years, have we finally succeeded? A robot dressed in blue and looking polite said excitedly to a national leader next to him. Yes, with the efforts of the whole country, we finally succeeded. Boom. The heavy iron door of this laboratory rose slowly from the bottom to the top with a bang. When the big iron door was fully raised to the highest point, a figure familiar to Nobi Daichi and others, who was respected and worshipped by the people of New Nekotibia, appeared in the sight of the people of the country. Lululu. This extremely human-like robot was Lululu, but it was different from Lululu before history was changed. The new Lululu was restored by the New Nekotibia generation after generation, based on the many information handed down. This Lululu is the belief of the people of New Nekotibia, the angel of New Nekotibia, and the beautiful symbol of New Nekotibia. According to the memory of their ancestors Yam and Sham, it was Lululu who made their happy country, Nekotibia. In order to restore the angel, the people of New Nekotibia finally succeeded on this day after 30,000 years. How could they not be excited? When Lululu was typing the code to change the evolution direction of Yam and Sham, she also added her angel image to the minds of Yam and Sham. Of course, it was not forced into it, but a subtle influence. Therefore, even after 30,000 years, when the technology of New Nekotibia was very advanced, Lululu was not researched. Lululu still has long pink hair, dark blue eyes, and long pink hair down to her waist. New Lululu is different from old Lululu who has an expression of keeping people away from her. New Lululu always has a gentle smile. Suddenly, the eyes of the diplomat of New Nekotibia flickered, and various numbers kept flowing in his eyes. The next moment, a small screen was projected from the eyes of the diplomat, and appeared in front of many senior officials of many countries. On the screen was a blue planet. Not far from the blue planet, a meteorite several kilometers long was slowly rotating and flying towards the blue planet. Start the emergency procedure. The highest military commander of New Nekotibia said calmly. After the highest military commander gave the order, an invisible wave enveloped the meteorite several kilometers long. Under the calm gaze of many national leaders of New Nekotibia, the meteorite several kilometers long brushed past the blue planet. The chief governor of New Nekotibia turned around and looked at New Lululu with a gentle smile. The other senior officials of New Nekotibia looked at the chief governor. They had just received the chief governor's sudden suggestion, but no person raised any objection. A day later, under the gaze of the people of New Nekotibia, a spaceship only a dozen meters long slowly rose into the air, turned into a stream of light, and disappeared into the sky. September 3rd, 1974, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Nobi, Daichi, Nobita, and Doraemon were sitting in the living room watching the news on TV. According to the latest news, on September 2nd, 1974, a meteorite several kilometers long passed by the Earth. It was incredible. After all, according to the normal trajectory, this meteorite should have directly rushed into the Earth, but for some reason it suddenly changed its trajectory. Now we have invited the country's top astronomy expert to give you relevant explanations. Doraemon, change the channel. I don't want to watch this. It's too boring. Nobita said unhappily to Doraemon, who was sitting on his left. He didn't know what Doraemon was thinking, and he actually let him watch something as boring as the news. Nobita, you have to know that the news covers a lot of things. Reading more news can improve your knowledge and writing skills. Doraemon didn't change the channel as Nobita said when he heard what Nobita said, but explained to Nobita with a serious face. I don't care, Doraemon, you have to change the channel. Nobita didn't agree with Doraemon and stretched out his hand to grab the remote control in Doraemon's hand, but Doraemon naturally wouldn't give it to him. So Nobita and Doraemon got entangled for a while. Zizzy. Cap. Just as Nobita and Doraemon were fighting for the TV remote control, the TV screen suddenly turned white and flickered. The volume was wrong. This chapter should be a daily extra. Chapter 173 Lululu returns. The next second, the flickering TV screen went black. Nobita and Doraemon, who were fighting for the TV remote control, stopped what they were doing and stared at the black screen. Nobi Daichi stood up from the ground, walked to the black TV screen, and patted the TV. Pa. Pa. The TV did not respond. Nobi Daichi unplugged the TV and plugged it in again. The black TV screen still did not respond at all. Maybe it's burned out. Nobi Daichi turned around and said to Nobita and Doraemon, this is terrible. When mom comes back, we will definitely be scolded. Nobita stopped arguing with Doraemon after hearing what Nobi Daichi said and sat on the ground with a look of despair. Doraemon hurriedly put the TV remote control on the table, walked to the front of the TV, and looked back and forth carefully. Well, nothing can be seen. Doraemon, do you have any props to fix the TV? Nobi Daichi is not like Nobita, who would just sit there bored and sad. After all, boredom and sadness can't solve any practical problems. Props? Let me think about it. Hearing Nobi Daichi's words, Doraemon lowered his head to think, and at the same time, rummaged in his 4-dimensional pocket. Found it, the time-sharing scarf. Actually, there is no need to repair it, so troublesome. Just restore it to its original state. Doraemon explained to Nobi Daichi, and then covered the broken TV with the blue back of the time-sharing scarf. Then the clock on the time-sharing scarf began to reverse. Hearing Doraemon's words, Nobi Daichi was stunned, and this time he seemed to really think narrow. After a while, the clock on the time-sharing scarf stopped automatically. So Doraemon took off the time-sharing scarf covering the TV and put it back in the 4-dimensional pocket. After turning on the TV switch and watching the TV appear again, the three people in the living room breathed a sigh of relief. However, after this incident, Nobi Daichi no longer had any interest in watching TV. Before, he was forced to watch TV by Nobita and Doraemon. At this time, Nobi Daichi was in a very complicated mood, and various figures of Lululu kept popping up in his mind from time to time. Because he had no interest in watching TV, Nobi Daichi no longer stayed in the living room, but walked out of the living room and returned to the second floor. Nobita and Doraemon stood in the living room and watched Nobi Daichi walk out of the living room. Neither of them stopped Nobi Daichi. Maybe letting Daichi be alone for a while would help him forget the past? This idea popped up in Nobita and Doraemon's minds at the same time. Going back to the second floor, opened the window and look out the window. At this time, it was getting cooler because the weather was about to enter autumn. A breeze blew on Nobi Daichi's face, calming Nobi Daichi's impatient heart a little. Although he was not afraid of this coolness with his strength in the early stage of the mortal realm, he would also be affected by it. Looking at the sky, a barely perceptible, fleeting stream of light suddenly fell on the back mountain of the school. What is that? Nobi Daichi wondered in his heart. Then he walked to the closet and took out the bamboo dragonfly from Doraemon's spare 4-dimensional pocket and put it on his head. After pressing the switch, Nobi Daichi flew out of the window and flew straight to the back mountain, where the light fell. In the dark and vast universe, a spaceship more than 10 meters long was flying silently in this silent environment. There were countless stone borders around the spaceship. At this time, the spaceship was in a meteorite circle. But this spaceship did not seem to be afraid of the meteorites surrounding it, and it could always avoid the meteorites around one by one. In the cockpit with clear lights, a girl with long pink hair was sitting in the driving position. Looking at the 1 meter wide and 3 meter long star map in front of her, Lulu pointed her finger. A blue planet immediately filled the star map, almost occupying the entire star map. Is this the Earth? Looking at the beautiful Earth on the star map, Lulu said to herself. The next moment, Lulu closed the star map and concentrated on driving. Start space jump. The spaceship, which was more than 10 meters long, disappeared in an instant. The starry sky returned to silence again, leaving only countless aimless meteorites. Nobi Daichi put on the bamboo dragonfly and soon came to the mountain behind the school. After landing on a small slope, Nobi Daichi took off the bamboo dragonfly and searched around to find out what the fleeting light was. Suddenly, Nobi Daichi was stunned. A tall girl with long pink hair down to her waist, dark blue eyes appeared in front of him. Lulu. Nobi Daichi called Lulu unconsciously. Lulu, who was about to go down the mountain, stopped after hearing Nobi Daichi shout, and Nobi Daichi hurried over. Do you know me? Lulu asked Nobi Daichi with a puzzled look on his face. After seeing Lulu, Nobi Daichi was so excited that he couldn't control himself, but after hearing what Lulu said, his heart suddenly sank. You don't know me? Nobi Daichi asked back with some reluctance. Lulu shook her head naturally after hearing what Nobi Daichi said. Nobi Daichi's last fluke and his heart was gone. It doesn't matter. Although we don't know each other, we can get to know each other from now on. Nobi Daichi forced a smile. Well, but I still have some things to do now. Lulu looked embarrassed. Is it convenient for me to follow you? Convenient. Lulu showed a gentle smile. Nobi Daichi was relieved when he saw this situation. Although he didn't know, while Lulu didn't even remember him, he was already very satisfied that Lulu could come back. Then Nobi Daichi went down the mountain with Lulu. Nobi Daichi originally had a lot of things to say to Lulu, but when he thought that Lulu didn't know him, he didn't know what to say for a moment. Soon, Nobi Daichi and Lulu arrived at the town where Nobi Daichi was. As Nobi Daichi was still thinking about why Lulu suddenly came back, he didn't realize that he was not far from home. I'm home. Lulu's crisp voice woke Nobi Daichi from his deep thought. Looking at the house number of the house that Lulu mentioned, Nobi Daichi always felt that it was so familiar. But for a moment, Nobi Daichi couldn't figure it out, so he looked up at a house on the left. Isn't that my home? What about this house? Nobi Daichi was shocked. The home that Lulu mentioned was actually next to his house. Chapter 174 Fishing. Is this your home? Nobi Daichi asked in disbelief. Yes, what's wrong? Lulu asked in confusion, looking at Nobi Daichi's incredulous expression. Nothing. Nobi Daichi waved his hands in front of him and said repeatedly, oh, then I'm going home. As he said that, Lulu turned and walked towards the house. Seeing that she was about to open the door and enter the house, Nobi Daichi suddenly shouted at Lulu. Do we know each other? Of course. Lulu turned around and smiled, then completely entered the house and closed the door. After seeing that Lulu had returned to home, Nobi Daichi did not stand still, but also walked home in small steps. Daisy, where did you go? Nobita and Doraemon sat on the tatami and asked Nobita Daichi, who opened the door and came in. Nobita Daichi knew that Lulu's affairs could not be hidden from them and did not need to be hidden from them, so he told Nobita and Doraemon about Lulu's affairs. What? Lulu is back? And she's right next door to us? Nobita and Doraemon were very happy after hearing what Nobita Daichi said. Then the two stood up from the tatami and planned to go find Lulu, but were stopped by Nobita Daichi in time. Did you forget that Lulu, whom I said, no longer remembers the previous memory? When following Lulu all the way down from the back mountain of the school, Nobita Daichi deliberately chatted with Lulu. Then he found that, although this Lulu looked almost the same as the previous Lulu, her personality had changed a lot, and she had forgotten everything she had experienced with them. Oh. Nobita and Doraemon scratched their heads embarrassedly and sat back down. In the following time, Nobita and Doraemon each did their own things. Nobita was reading comics, and Doraemon was also reading comics, but the difference between Nobita and Doraemon was that there was an extra plate of dorayaki next to Doraemon. Doraemon would take a dorayaki from the plate from time to time and eat it with relish. Nobi Daichi walked to the bookshelf and picked up the comic book Grimm's Fairy Tales that Lulu had read. After flipping through it and taking a look, Nobi Daichi put the book back. Then Nobi Daichi walked to the desk and sat down. The effect of the end of cause and effect card is very different from what Nobi Daichi thought, but no matter what, the cause and effect between him and Lulu have been intertwined. This is not Nobi Daichi's guess, but a kind of induction in the dark. At night, at the dining table, Nobi Tamaki, Nobi Shinsuke, Nobi Daichi, Nobita and Doraemon's family of 5 are eating lively. Suddenly, Nobi Shinsuke stopped eating, holding the bowl and chopsticks, and said to others, "Tomorrow is a day off. How about our family go fishing in Edogawa?" Edogawa is a river in Japan, with a total length of 59.5 kilometers and a drainage area of about 200 square kilometers. There are many kinds of fish in the river and it covers Ibaraki Prefecture, Chiba Prefecture, Saitama Prefecture, and Tokyo. Why did dad suddenly want to go fishing in Edogawa? Nobita Mako stopped eating and asked Nobi Shinsuke. Well, our company completed a big project this time, and the company rewarded me with a good fishing rod. In addition, tomorrow is a rare day off, so I want to try it. Nobi Shinsuke said a little embarrassedly. Nobita, Daichi, Doraemon, what do you think? Nobita Tamako did not express her opinion immediately, but asked Nobita, Daichi, and Doraemon for their opinions. Nobita naturally agreed firmly. He was tired of reading comics all the time, and Doraemon also nodded in agreement. As for Nobi Daichi, he cherishes the days when the family gathers and plays together. How could he refuse? He also expressed his approval. Seeing that 4 of the 5 people in the family agreed, Nobita Mako would naturally not disagree. In her opinion, going to Edogawa for fishing doesn't cost anything anyway, and it can cultivate the relationship between family members, so why not do it? Therefore, the matter of going to Edogawa for fishing tomorrow was decided. After dinner, Nobi Daichi, Nobita and Doraemon returned to the room on the 2nd floor. Nobi Daichi looked at the lights on in Lulu's house next door through the window and was very curious. Is Lulu alone? But it's already night now, and it's not appropriate to go to Lulu now. As for using the all-round detection TV to check, Nobi Daichi said that he is not Nobita. How could he do such a thing? The night deepened, and it was soon time to go to bed. Nobi's house, next door. Lulu sat on the sofa, and a kind middle-aged man and a middle-aged woman sat on the sofa next to her. "Angel, I didn't expect you to arrive so soon." The middle-aged man and the middle-aged woman said respectfully to Lulu. "Don't call me Angel and Lord, just call me by my name Lulu." "Angel, this." The middle-aged man and the middle-aged woman hesitated. "Huh. Be careful, I'll be angry." Lulu pretended to be angry. "Okay, Lulu." The middle-aged man and the middle-aged woman accepted this instruction helplessly, but they were quite happy in their hearts. Angel is Angel, and he is as kind as the legend says. As humanoid robots of New Nekotibia, they came to Earth to live a long time ago. Arranging matters related to Lulu was the first task that New Nekotibia gave them after they came to Earth. After chatting with Lulu, the middle-aged man and the middle-aged woman went to do their own things, mainly arranging matters related to Lulu. They didn't ask Lulu what she was doing on Earth. This was not a question they should ask, and they didn't want to know. After all, knowing it would not do them any good. Although Lulu's attitude towards them was very gentle, they would not take advantage of it, and they still had hidden respect for Lulu in their hearts. This respect was maintained since they were created, and the longer the years passed, the deeper the respect became. Lulu opened the window on the 2nd floor, leaned against the window, and looked at the dark night. The scene of walking with Nobi Daichi in the afternoon emerged in her mind. Why does that person make me feel inexplicably familiar? No words were spoken all night. Nobi Daichi turned off the alarm next to the pillow, got out of the quilt, and put on his clothes. Looking to the side, Nobita had also gotten up and put on his clothes, but the sun was rising from the west. After getting dressed and folding the quilt and putting it in the closet, Nobi Daichi went downstairs with Nobita and Doraemon to have breakfast. Thanks to the reader CF Shuko for voting for a monthly ticket. Chapter 175 Preparation and Arrival. At the dining table, the 5 members of the Nobi family ate quietly, and no one spoke. After finishing the meal, Nobi Shinsuke asked, "Do you have enough fishing rods at home?" The other 4 did not answer this question, because no one knew. "I'll go and look," Nobi Tamaki said and left the dining table to look for fishing rods in the utility room. A few minutes later, Nobi Tamaki walked in front of everyone with 2 fishing rods, one of which was broken. "That's it," Nobi Tamaki said to Nobi Daichi and others. "In this case, even if you add the fishing rod I got as a reward from the company, there are only 2 fishing rods." Nobi Shinsuke walked to Nobi Tamaki's side and took the 2 fishing rods from Nobi Tamaki's hand. Nobi Shinsuke also saw that one of the 2 fishing rods was broken, so he said that there were only 2 fishing rods in total, including his fishing rod. "What should we do? Should we go buy a few more?" Nobita asked curiously. Nobita Mako didn't say anything. As a housewife who had to break every dollar into 2, she felt that this was a waste of money. After all, they didn't go fishing often. They only went once in a while, when they were free, and when they went, they were just 1 or 2 people. But if everyone wanted to buy, she could only bear the pain and spend money once. "No need." When everyone was silent, Nobi Daichi spoke up to help. "Although we only have 2 fishing rods, we will definitely catch fish when we go fishing. After catching the fish, we need to use buckets to carry them. Since we don't know how many fish we can catch, it's always a good idea to bring a few more buckets, as well as bait for fishing, and other things besides these. It seems that 2 fishing rods are enough, and the others can just help carry things. Besides, fishing is relatively boring, so we can take turns." Nobi Shinsuke, Nobita Mako, Nobita, and Doraemon thought about it, and felt that what Nobi Daichi said made sense. That's it. Nobi Shinsuke made the decision, and the next plan was set. Nobita Mako got up to clean up the dishes on the table. After doing this, she also prepared some food for lunch, and packed it up. Nobi Daichi, Nobita and Doraemon followed Nobi Shinsuke to pack up other things. Nobi Shinsuke asked Nobi Daichi and the other 2 to wait outside the door. After a while, Nobi Shinsuke came out of the bedroom holding a long brown box. As soon as they saw the brown box, Nobi Daichi and the other 2 immediately guessed that Nobi Shinsuke's fishing rod must be in this brown box. "Let's go." Carefully carrying the brown box, Nobi Shinsuke led Nobi Daichi and the other 2 to the utility room. After carefully placing the brown box in the corner, Nobi Shinsuke opened the door of the utility room. Looking at Nobi Shinsuke's cautious look, Nobi Daichi rolled his eyes and was quite speechless. "It's just a high-end fishing rod. Is it necessary to be like this?" Nobi Shinsuke certainly didn't know what Nobi Daichi was thinking at this time. After opening the door of the utility room, Nobi Shinsuke walked in first and turned on the light in the utility room. The utility room was often cleaned by Nobi Tamaki, so although it was a small room for storing sundries, it still looked very clean. Nobi Daichi picked up a sundry item at random, and there was not a speck of dust on it. Nobi Shinsuke walked to the left corner of the utility room, bent down and put his right hand into the corner, and then took out a small bag. Nobi Daichi was a little curious about the things in the bag, and wanted to know what it was, so he leaned over to take a look. "It looks like a bag of bait," Nobi Daichi said secretly in his heart. And what Nobi Shinsuke said next also verified Nobi Daichi's guess. "This is bait, Daichi, you take it first," Nobi Shinsuke said, and handed the bait to Nobi Daichi. Then Nobi Shinsuke walked from the left side of Nobi Daichi and walked to the right side of the utility room. Nobita and Doraemon, who were following behind Nobita Daichi, hurriedly stepped aside to make way for Nobita Shinsuke when they saw Nobita Shinsuke coming. A few minutes later, Nobita Daichi, Nobita Shinsuke, Nobita and Doraemon came out of the utility room. Nobita Daichi, Nobita and Doraemon were all carrying a bucket, and Nobita Daichi's bucket also had a bag of bait. As for Nobita Shinsuke, he was holding a fishing rod that was old but still usable. After walking to the door of the utility room, Nobita Shinsuke tightly hugged the brown box that Nobita Daichi and the other two guessed contained a high-end fishing rod. Then Nobita Shinsuke took the lead and walked into the yard, and Nobita Daichi, Nobita and Doraemon followed him into the yard. You can put down the bucket first. Looking at Nobita, who was sweating while carrying the bucket, Nobita Shinsuke seemed to be in a good mood and reminded Nobita Daichi and the other two with a smile. Hearing Nobi Shinsuke's words, Nobita put down the bucket directly, panting slightly, and Doraemon followed suit and put down the bucket. Although the weight of the bucket was not worth mentioning to Nobi Daichi, in order not to attract attention, Nobi Daichi still put the bucket down. After a while, Nobi Tamagotchi walked into the yard with a basket of lunch. Since we are ready, let's go now. Nobi Shinsuke and Nobi Tamagotchi looked at each other and confirmed that there was no problem before saying to everyone. Going around the yard to the door, Nobi Shinsuke paused at the door as if he was thinking about which direction to go and then walked to the right. Nobi Daichi learned a little about the place where the Edo-Gua River flows through Tokyo by reading books last night, mainly related to their family's trip. Turn right from their house, walk a few dozen meters and turn right again. There is almost no need to turn again for the rest of the journey, just walk straight. Nobi Shinsuke and Nobi Tamagotchi walked in front, and Nobi Daichi, Nobita and Doraemon walked behind. After walking for about half an hour, the 5 people came to a long river. Nobi Daichi looked at the river in front of him, which was 7 or 8 meters wide and long, and estimated that this should be one of the branches of the Edo-Gua River flowing through Tokyo. After arriving at the destination, Nobi Daichi, Nobita, and Doraemon all put down the buckets. Nobi Shinsuke looked around and finally put a fishing rod and a brown box on the dense grass. Nobi Tamaki also put the basket with lunch on the grass. Since the lunch box with food is closed, it is not afraid of getting dirty, not to mention that the basket is covered with a layer of cloth. After putting down the bucket, Nobi Daichi observed the surrounding environment. There seemed to be quite a few people fishing here today, about a dozen people. This branch of the Edo-Gua River has some small branches, one of which flows under a small mountain that is more than 10 meters wide and dozens of meters high. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.